Moonlight bathed the princess on her balcony until a shadowy syndicate struck, snatching her away as her screams pierced the night. Her captor lunged to silence her, but as she braced for impact, the rhythmic clashing of steel erupted around her. Fluttering her eyes open, she saw only fallen bodies. Suddenly, a mysterious masked youth materialized right behind her. He became a whirlwind of violence, dismantling the remaining thugs with bone-shattering strikes and lethal precision swordplay. Moving like a literal blur, he whisked her to a secret sanctuary, while the entire city swarmed with searching bandits. Safety was fleeting. They plummeted from the window just as the syndicate's formidable boss blocked their path. The villain unleashed a devastating spell, but the boy shrugged it off. Then that beastly dogman fired a magical blast. Neither was scratched. Realizing things were about to get messy, the boy gently lulled the princess into a deep sleep. Volleys of arrows rained down, but he swatted them aside. Desperate, the grunts charged with drawn blades. Their attacks were pathetic jokes to him. Bored with the one-sided dance, the boy decided it was finally his turn. He hurled every arrow back with lethal force. The confused Chihuahua boss trembled, paralyzed by the boy's terrifying unknown power. Cradling the girl, he condensed pure energy into a massive glowing sphere. Before the mangy mutt could even blink, the devastating blast erased him. Onlookers gasped, desperate to know the identity of the kid who crushed a crime lord. To uncover the truth, we must rewind. In a remote village, a colossal dragon descended from the heavens. The beast glanced down, only to find 3 kids casually playing rock, paper, scissors. These weren't just any ordinary villagers, though. They hailed from the legendary Crow tribe, and the winner earned the ultimate prize, slaying the dragon. The dragon roared in defiance, but a single casual punch silenced it forever. The boy even hit a victory emote. Orcs ambushed his siblings from behind. One brother smirked, unsheathed his steel, and instantly shredded the monsters into confetti. Mere seconds later, the fun ended. Our protagonist, the youngest of these monsters, asked his father for permission to leave. His father was baffled. Why leave when you're already the village's supreme martial artist and its most powerful mage? The boy sighed, claiming monster hunting had become a total bore. Then 10 seconds later, absolute chaos erupted. A wild attacker lunged at the father, who parried every strike with ease, while calmly lecturing his aggressive opponent. Talk about a family of absolute menaces. As our hero plotted his getaway, the chief made a shocking decree. This changed everything. Before the council, he named his youngest son as his official successor. Strength is the only law here, and this 12-year-old had soloed a dragon using nothing but raw talent. Beyond his physical prowess, he could dual-cast opposing magics, a feat considered physically impossible by everyone else. While the council struggled to process this, a panicked guard burst in, begging them to see the village gates. They rushed outside, only to find a mountain of monster corpses stacked right at the main entrance. His sister appeared holding a cheeky note, off to the capital. Catch me if you can. His father's face darkened, ordering an immediate pursuit, but the clever boy was already 10 steps ahead of them. The monster pile suddenly released a toxic fog, stalling the hunters for hours. 2 days later, his genius sister intervened. With a chillingly calm smile, the tactical mastermind organized 3 specialized squads to hunt down her little brother. His plan ends tonight, she whispered. Meanwhile, our hero was shivering in a cave, trying to stay warm. Sipping hot tea, he barely blinked when the warriors arrived. Their attempts to seize him were pathetically slow and clumsy. He systematically dismantled the group with a stone-cold expression before vanishing back into the deep, dark woods. Back home, his sister fumed. How could 100 elite soldiers fail to capture a single 12-year-old boy? High in the peaks, our hero sought peace, but his pursuers clung to his trail like stubborn parasites. They tried every dirty trick to corner him. Even Nora and the Hyungs went all out to end his flight. But he was just out here farming, Aura casually dodging every strike. Suddenly, a samurai sliced the very earth beneath him. The ground crumbled, sending him tumbling. They expected a splash, but he defied gravity, soaring through the air with magic. His friends stood frozen in shock. From the sky, he waved a final goodbye to the family who raised him. After promising to write, he blasted toward the horizon. 2 sleepless, grueling days later, he finally stepped into civilization. Exhausted and covered in grime, he finally made it. Suddenly, a blur dashed past, snatching a bag right under his nose. The thief laughed, calling him a sucker for getting robbed so easily. But in a literal heartbeat, the boy was standing right beside him. Terrified by that impossible speed, the thug desperately brandished a jagged knife. Our hero slips behind him effortlessly, weaving through the strikes like a phantom. The thief is completely dazed until the protagonist reappears at his back. With a casual flick of his finger, he blasts the thug into the distance. One tiny tap was all it took to clear the path. Just as he's recovering the loot, the authorities swarm the scene. The boy tries to explain that the runner was the real culprit, but as the thief vanishes, the guards slap the cuffs on our protagonist instead. He can't believe his luck arrested on day 1. He actually managed to end up behind bars. When the guard demands his ID, our MC decides it's time for a little magic trick. He activates spatial magic to borrow a high-ranking document from thin air. The guard's jaw drops, and he starts apologizing profusely. Having acquired a noble's credentials, he's escorted out with honors. Back on the streets, he begins his tour of the city. He tries to snag a snack at a local stall, but the shopkeeper nearly has a heart attack at the sight of his coin. The old man stammers that his entire inventory isn't worth that single coin. As dusk falls, our hero moves on empty-handed. With nowhere to sleep and money he doesn't know how to use, the irony is real. That's when a local punk decides to corner him. Backed by two hulking brutes, the thug demands compensation for the earlier humiliation. He's looking for a major payday. That glittering coin is worth the risk. It's insane to think a mere child actually managed to take down their comrade earlier. He refuses to believe a brat won fair and square, insisting the kid must be packing some secret high-tier weapon. Our MC realizes he's staring at the same sticky-fingered thief who tried to jack his gear earlier that day. He innocently asks if they have any small change, hoping to finally break his massive bill for some basic supplies. The trio freezes in total shock. They've never even seen a legendary white gold coin in the flesh until this very moment. The thief snatches the treasure, instantly convinced he's hit the jackpot. He smirks, claiming there's zero chance of getting change back. He calls it a processing fee and tells the kid to beat it. Little does he know, our hero isn't looking for a fair deal. He just needs enough to survive the night. Suddenly, a voice booms from the shadows, calling out the cowards for bullying a kid. A rogue-like adventurer steps in, demanding they cease their pathetic crimes. The muscle-bound goons quickly surround the newcomer. They warn the stranger to back off before things get bloody. But before they can blink, the adventurer strikes like lightning. With effortless style, he dismantles the first thug, followed by a clinical knockout punch to the second bald brawler. The blonde thief is left trembling in awe. Seeing his muscle get folded like laundry, he realizes it's time to ghost. While the stranger shows mercy, the defeated brothers spring back up, catching the kind-hearted adventurer completely off guard. They launch a dirty sneak attack, slamming the hero into the dirt. The tables have turned in the blink of an eye. Collapsed before our MC, the fallen hero weakly asks if the boy is safe. Later that night, they find a safe haven. They hit a local tavern to fuel up. The adventurer warns the boy to slow down before he chokes on his feast. "Eat your fill, kid, I'm buying," he chuckles, finally introducing himself as Lisbon Carter, though most folks just call him Liz. Our young protagonist reveals his name is Denmark, yeah, just like the legendary kingdom from the history books. Realizing the kid is essentially a high-class hobo, Liz suggests bunking at the tavern for the night as a safe bet. Liz promises he's one of the good guys, dreaming of becoming a noble knight. Suddenly, a fiery redhead storms into the room. She cuts him off, complaining that they aren't running a charity for every stray beggar on the street. She spots the bruises on Liz's face and sighs. This definitely isn't the first time his heroism backfired on them. A chaotic sibling spat erupts while Denmark continues to inhale his food, completely oblivious to the surrounding drama. The awkward tension thickens as they share a cringe-worthy look. Before storming off, she drops a chilling warning. If they don't reach the capital soon, they're dead meat. Liz explains that his sister Alice is just burnt out. Sensing a knowledge gap, Denmark asks for a crash course on how the local economy actually functions in this land. Being a mountain-dwelling country bumpkin, the Empire's complex currency system is a total mystery to him. Liz breaks down the 8-tier currency ladder, emphasizing that the white gold coin sits at the legendary peak. These Pelcase coins are the lifeblood of the realm. Grabbing a scrap of paper, Liz starts sketching the financial map. He maps out the exact conversion rates, while Denmark studies the notes like his life depends on it. As he crunches the numbers, his eyes nearly pop out. A single white gold coin is basically a cheat code. It could literally fund an entire territory for a month. He finally realizes he tried to buy a snack with billions. The realization of his billion-dollar blunder hits hard. Liz leaves him to process the shock, while he checks on Alice. In the quiet pre-dawn hours, Denmark takes advantage of the silence to organize his legendary gear for the journey ahead. Scouting his loot, he weighs what'll actually fetch a price while staring at a bag overflowing with white gold. But there's a catch, those coins are dead weight here. To survive, he's forced to hawk his own legendary gear. As he summons his void storage, the mana flows like butter. Turns out magic is a breeze outside village gates. Footsteps. An uninvited guest crashes his room, but our hero's faking a deep sleep before the door even creaks. Sunrise hits and he slips out, leaving a polite thank you note for the warm meal and hospitality. He realizes he's walking with a giant target on his back. Flexing a noble title is a total death wish. Mission: find the local forger. Meanwhile, the thugs who rolled him are panicking over their haul, arguing the split. As they get greedy, the blonde leader kills the vibe. Exchanging this much heat isn't just hard, it's dangerous. He warns them to stay low, only to realize his homies already ghosted him. Then a massive shadow looms. Objective 1 cleared. Our main character absolutely wrecks the thief, leaving him waking up with a mangled face. Dazed and broken, the thief looks up to see a massive wall of muscle grinning down. A literal giant. Rocking some bizarre threads, the giant ignores his pleas. Instead, he obliterates a nearby tree with one single punch. "Talk or you're next," the giant growls. He wants the name of the underground forger right now. The thief tries to play dumb, swearing he's clueless. But the bearded beast isn't buying the act at all. Another tree snaps like a toothpick. Start yapping, he threatens, or things are about to get real ugly. Unless he wants a one-way ticket to the afterlife, he needs a lead. Desperate, he offers a useful contact. Flipping a coin, he smirks. 2 birds, 1 stone. As the gold spins and lands in his palm, the illusion dissolves, revealing our hero was the giant cut to a rowdy tavern dripping with dark secrets. Heads turn as a sharp-dressed stranger walks in, radiating an aura that screams, "Don't mess with me." It's our boy in disguise, low-key worried he's too flashy. The waitress approaches, intrigued by the new face. She offers the menu, but his mind is elsewhere. A voice whispers the path: follow the code or fail. He drops a cryptic code masked as a food order. Instantly, the waitress's playful vibe vanishes into stone-cold seriousness. "Follow me," she commands, leading him deep into the bowels of the building to a hidden subterranean lair. He spots a high-level magic barrier etched into the stones. This isn't just a basement, it's a fortress. The waitress drops the act, channeling mana to rip open a shimmering portal. He steps through into another world. Inside, a mysterious mystic waits amidst swirling enchantments. The waitress dips, leaving him face to face with the magic user. Noticing his awkward energy, she invites him to sit. But our hero is already scanning the room with god eyes. He counts 6 active spells humming in the air. 4 are hidden, waiting to trigger at any threat. It's a mix of lethal traps and shields. But the crown jewel, a massive illusion masking a secret room. She eyes him suspiciously, wondering why this noble is slumming it. Finally, he lays his cards on the table. He just wants a forged identity. She blinks in shock. She was expecting a way bigger headache than paperwork. The catch: he's got to supply the materials himself, including a rare, brutal ogre bone. He reaches into thin air and pulls the bone from his void storage. Her jaw drops. This guy is legendary. She admits he's got skills. He's aiming high, though he wants a baron rank. But there's a massive problem. High-tier identities are locked behind insane security she can't crack. But our hero just shrugs it off easily. He'll handle the enchantments himself. Seeing his confidence, she quotes a staggering price: 15 million gold. Zero hesitation. He tosses a white gold coin onto the table. As it hits, her heart nearly stops. This guy isn't just wealthy, he's ruined the economy rich. He then asks to buy out her entire inventory. Money is no object. The following morning, he checks his fresh credentials, his golden ticket to roam free. Along with the identification, he scored a detailed capital map and some classified Imperial Army documents. He even snagged rare grimoires and stacks of cash. For once, his bank account is looking absolutely legendary. Back at the bar, the mystic stares at the 4 billion he left. Who the hell was that guy? Peeling off her mask, she realizes he's a total wildcard. This isn't someone you just forget. She has no choice but to flag this to the Great Mother. Meanwhile, over at the clan headquarters, they're scouring the Empire's biggest cities for her missing brother, but she knows finding him will be hell. His mastery over illusion magic was a major hurdle, but luckily that threat was finally off the table. News traveled fast to the family's uncle. He scanned the urgent letter, dissecting every cryptic detail within the text. His nephew was a total headache for pulling an escape act. Meanwhile, our main character was busy haggling at a local armory. When questioned about his travel plans, he simply smirked, already eyeing a massive haul of gear for his journey. His ally from the previous nights was also stocking up. Beside her stood the fiery little redhead, looking impatient. She was fuming over the terrible deal-making. In a fit of rage, she began roasting her older brother's incompetence. The guy was always broke because he had a soft spot for beggars giving away every cent of their hard-earned profit. Watching the siblings bicker endlessly, the main character decided to intervene and flip the script on their situation. The siblings gasped in shock. The boy was absolutely loaded, carrying an insane amount of top-tier gear. At the tavern, Lee confessed her worry. He'd vanished that morning without even a polite goodbye, leaving everyone confused. The redhead snapped that he probably left to avoid being dead weight. But surprisingly, the lunch bill was on him today. Our hero stepped up, offering to cover the costs. He had clan funds, but lacked any real-world common sense regarding commerce. Buying things was a mystery to him. When asked about his next destination, he honestly admitted his goal was the capital. He was determined to reach the capital. Realizing they were headed the same way, the warrior proposed a deal. Why not travel together? The boy was relieved. The journey ahead was dauntingly long for a solo traveler. Dismissing the redhead's complaints, he insisted that a larger party would only make the adventure more legendary. Reality check: they were stone-cold broke and couldn't afford train tickets. The main character's deep pockets were a total lifesaver. He assured the redhead he was loaded. When he offered to spot little Alice some cash, her jaw nearly hit the floor. She was stunned into silence. Meanwhile, at the Imperial Palace, the uncle Blady Vaughn held court in absolute splendor. The mighty Dragon Tribe Emperor commended Blady for his relentless service in shielding the Empire from monstrous threats. Blady played it cool, claiming it was just his duty, but then he started getting way too comfortable for a subordinate. He kicked his boots up on the table, visibly annoying the Emperor. Why the sudden visit out of nowhere? Despite the busy schedule, he had urgent news. His youngest nephew had broken out of the village. The blonde emperor wasn't sweating it. He knew the Crow tribe's bloodline was far too powerful to be easily crushed. Honestly, the uncle joked that they'd be lucky if the boy didn't accidentally wipe a few villages off the map. The kicker. This 16-year-old runaway was the next in line to become the tribe's legendary chief. This kid was a freak of nature. Rumor has it he dominated a dragon when he was just 12 years old. The emperor was stunned as the gravity of the situation sank in. Blady abruptly left, claiming he had business elsewhere. He had a nation to rule and couldn't spare time for family drama. The nephew situation was Blady's problem now. He dumped the responsibility back on the family. The hunter was fuming, realizing he'd have to fix this mess solo. En route to the capital, the trio finally arrived at the station, ready to board their iron transport. Once aboard, they relaxed into their plush seats. They were traveling in style, living it up in first class. It was peak luxury. Still, the girl complained that the 4-day trek to the capital was going to be a drag. She refused to settle for economy class. Meanwhile, the warriors' reckless spending had completely nuked their travel budget. Shadows loomed as a pack of orcs eyed the train hungrily. But the locomotive roared ahead, refusing to slow down. Racing at breakneck speeds, the main character sat inside, engrossed in a heavy tome about imperial laws and law enforcement. The girl was amazed by his god-tier focus. He hadn't looked up from that book once since they left the station. She figured he was prepping for the summer civil service exams. With only 1 month left, the main character was grinding hard. He had a mountain of material to master. Ever the loyal companion, she truly hoped he'd crush his goals. His dream was to become an elite knight, though the path was brutal. Suddenly the train screeched to a violent halt. A deafening roar filled the cabin. The redhead peered outside, wondering what on earth could have stopped them so abruptly. She stood up, annoyed by the delay. But the main character's danger instincts flared. Something was definitely wrong out there. Through the glass, a wicked goblin was visible, charging at the carriage with murderous intent. Fearing for her safety, the hero rushed to her side. He checked to see if she was unharmed from the impact. She flushed with embarrassment. They spotted a crushed goblin nearby, prompting the knight to investigate the chaos outside. Steel rings out. To keep everyone safe, he draws his sword, realizing goblins are raiding the train. Entrusting his sister to our main character, he charges out, promising to return in a flash. Panic flares. The redhead screams for her brother, but her cries are lost as he vanishes. Finding herself totally isolated, she trembles. Meanwhile, the knight senses a chilling presence lurking ahead. It's a bloodbath. Goblins swarm the cars, mocking the passengers' desperate pleas for mercy. A vile creature prepares to execute an agent, but a voice cuts through the chaos. Stop. The knight lunges his blade, finding its mark in the first monster's chest. The goblin leader roars in fury, swearing to drink the boy's blood as they clash. With overwhelming power, the young man strikes, ending the duel with one lethal neck blow. After clearing the area, he directs survivors to the back, hoping the rear cars stay secure. But the nightmare isn't over. Suddenly, a massive tide of green monsters surges toward them. Just then, a majestic blue aura erupts, vaporizing every single goblin in its path. In a blink, the room is cleared. This god-tier display, all thanks to our protagonist. Watching from the shadows outside, he's getting impatient. These weaklings are slowing him down. He's got zero time for games. His exam in the capital is the only priority. Through the glass, the redhead spots him floating outside. Her jaw hits the floor. Shaken by his hidden power, she watches as the train finally rolls into the east station. At last, the crew reaches the legendary capital, stepping onto the bustling platform together. Alice is already nagging, terrified her brother will get himself killed on some reckless quest. She threatens to dig him up just to kill him again. Then she turns her fury toward the main character. Where were you when I needed protecting? Before the hero can answer, a commotion erupts. A noble's driver is berating a commoner for blocking the path of his master's carriage. As the victim begs for forgiveness, Alice warns her brother, "Don't you dare interfere." Ignoring the drama, the protagonist's sharp eyes lock onto a mysterious wolf crest on the vehicle. Priorities first, the boy decides to hit the bank before exploring the city's vast streets. Inside the Grand Bank, a clerk greets him, ready to manage his massive pile of loot. He requests a new account, but the clerk insists on seeing his official ID first. She scans the card on a magic device. The boy holds his breath. Will his disguise hold? Panic sets in. If his cloaking spells fail now, the entire capital will hunt him down. Identity confirmed. The clerk smiles, shattering the tension and approving his new account. Process complete. He's handed a glowing tablet inscribed with his personal financial data. This is his new debit card, the ultimate tool for doing business in this fantasy world. Finally, he can swap his heavy gold for spending cash. Meanwhile, Alice starts complaining again. She tosses a bag of coins at him payment for those lunches he covered earlier. But their paths must diverge here. The adventurers have their own missions to attend to. The knight looks devastated. He's actually going to miss the protagonist's quiet company. Alice, however, can't stop replaying that image of our hero floating in the sky. She remembers his face against the clouds, wondering what secrets he's truly hiding. I played it cool back there, she thinks, hoping she earns some respect from him. The knight waves goodbye, wishing his friend luck on the upcoming civil service exam. As they part ways, our hero's first priority is finding a decent place to crash. He hits a real estate agency where an eccentric old lady bombards him with questions. Noticing his irritation, she quickly backs off and apologizes for her overbearing energy. He explains he's a solo traveler from the boonies looking for a quiet place to study. This exam is his ticket to a long-term stay in the capital. The grind starts now. The elderly woman knows the drill by heart. Her own son is grinding to crush this exam as soon as possible. Passing is just the start. Once he clears it, he's headed straight into elite academy training. Thinking it over, our hero realizes landing a government gig is just as brutal here as in the real world. Luckily, a house popped up that's perfect for a student budget. Most spots around here demand a massive year of rent up front, but this place is different. Even with a premium price tag, it's the absolute best deal. The agency can offer our adventurer right now. The mansion's owner, Archila, greets her new client with a graceful smile. That name rings a major bell, leaving the mage certain he's encountered her before. Stepping closer, she requests his ID, explaining her son is pretty picky about who hangs around. Once the card clears, our protagonist mentions her name sounds incredibly familiar. Then the truth drops. Her son is actually the Empire's prime minister, making that surname legendary. This guy is already on our hero's watch list of nobles, rocking a forged identity. Enter Arcanta Artemius, a high-tier noble with insane influence across the Empire. Puzzled, he wonders why a noble house would even bother renting out rooms, but there's no catch. She simply loves the vibe of having company around. Just then, the doorbell echoes through the hall. Archila assumes it's more guests, but the mage senses a trap. The prime minister is likely tight with his uncle. Surprise, that same family from before arrives looking to snag a room. Spotting his buddy, the knight is floored by the sheer coincidence. Things get hilariously awkward when they all realize they're all gunning for the same lease. Meanwhile, at the royal palace, a mountain of paperwork needs signing. Reports hit the prime minister's desk about the upcoming civil exams and the new faces moving into his private estate. As he scans the files, memories flood back. It's been ages since their paths last crossed. He recalls meeting these youngsters back when they were just kids. Seeing little Alice aiming for the Magic Academy and her brother joining the Knights actually warms his heart. But the third adventurer is a total wildcard. His assistant already dug up the intel, confirming the boy is here for the exam with a noble ID in hand. Plus, it looks like our MC is already tight with the siblings. Now, the noble must decide how to handle this mysterious, uninvited guest. Kicking back in his new room, the hero wonders how he even got roped into this lease, regretting he didn't just buy a place outright, instead of being shackled to this mansion. Still, this could be the perfect cover though. Hiding from the capital's top minister is a high-stakes gamble. At least his friend can vouch for him if things get dicey. Suddenly, he notices a massive crowd gathering outside. The security is insane, way more guards than a normal house needs. Later that night, a bald soldier creeps toward a suspicious location. A chilling aura fills the air, piquing his curiosity. But in a flash, the soldier is out cold. Before he can even blink, crumpling to the floor, he gasps at the sight of a figure hovering in midair. Using world-native plant roots for a hypnotic boost, the hero approaches and delivers a cold warning. He calmly demands to know why the mansion is crawling with guards. The truth, they're pulling a 24-hour stakeout on the second-floor guest. This chills the MC. Does the minister already know? It's weird though. If they knew, why isn't he behind bars yet? Sadly, the soldier is clueless as to why the boy has been under 24/7 surveillance for over a month. Perhaps the landlord is just playing it safe with a suspicious guest. As the soldier begins to shake off the hypnotic trance, he wakes up totally dazed and confused. Luckily, our hero has already vanished into the night, thanks to his flight powers. Back at his desk, he starts plotting a way to mask his identity. Sunrise brings chaos as the night rushes in with the latest headlines. He reads the frantic news aloud. A thief named Lupino just pulled a high-stakes heist at the Marquise's estate. Finally, the hero connects the dots. That wolf crest belonged to the robbery victim. To make things even more chaotic, the thief just dropped a calling card for his next hit tomorrow. Fed up with the tension, the redhead tells them to quit stressing and just eat. Otherwise, the royal treasury's night order is going to get buried in paperwork. Usually, these stolen gems vanish straight into the black market. With the royal treasury tracking every single coin, everyone is frantically burying their treasures underground. Uncovering these shady deals is vital, especially when the capital's most legendary gemstone is involved. After a month of grinding for exams, the boys are finally ready to face the assistant. He is itching to start, but the official apologizes, claiming today's workload is a total nightmare. Before the test begins, the wizard overhears the crowd gossiping about some very dark market transactions. People are straight up losing it, claiming their lives are being ruined by this mystery thief. As darkness falls, knights mobilize while a shadow watches from the rooftops preparing for a necessary distraction. To mask the true crisis, our protagonist decides to play the villain and take the fall. He pulls a Lupino mask from his void dimension, leaping into the night for his next victim. Soldiers keep a 24/7 watch on the boy's room, convinced he is their prime suspect. Little do they know they are just guarding a magical hologram, while the real action unfolds elsewhere. The troops gather at the vault, determined to protect the continent's most priceless treasure from the Phantom. They are guarding the legendary Crystal of the Skies, whispering about whether Lupino will actually show up. Just following orders, they remain confident that no thief could possibly break through their ironclad defense. Faced with a sea of warriors, the Count demands absolute silence, his eyes fixed on the prize. He is sweating bullets over his jewels, snapping at his men that whining won't get the job done. If they fail to protect this fortune, they are blacklisted forever, with no second chances in this game. Suddenly, a panicked soldier bursts in with terrifying news. Lupino has breached Countess Margaret's high-security mansion. The safe was cleaned out of silver, leaving nothing behind but a mocking calling card in its place. The nobleman fumes in disbelief, immediately ordering his commander to split the units and hunt him down. One soldier suspects the mansion hid is just a clever distraction, but the boss is not listening. Blinded by greed, the man refuses to budge, forcing everyone to stay and guard his personal stash. But while they are busy arguing, the Crystal of the Skies vanishes into thin air right before them. Hidden in plain sight as a guard, our hero slips away, another legendary heist successfully completed. He blinks through a portal to swap outfits, transforming into the notorious Lupino in a matter of seconds. Holding the massive jewel, he realizes the mission was almost too easy for someone with his elite talents. He is strong, but fighting an entire army was not the plan. It is time to vanish. A room glowing with complex warding seals catches his eye, radiating intense levels of protective ancient magic. Curious if something better is hidden inside, he cracks the security code with effortless precision. He steps inside only to find a suspiciously empty room that looks completely ordinary at first glance. However, a keen eye reveals a single cabinet pulsing with a hidden high-level protection spell. After shattering the enchantment, he finds a mysterious untitled notebook tucked away in the drawer. By sunrise, the knight is back, asking if the protagonist has seen the chaotic morning headlines. She reveals that Lupino has officially snatched two of the most priceless artifacts on the entire continent. Turns out, Countess Margaret's stolen necklace is an ancient relic over 1,000 years old. That heirloom was destined for the future princess, and the boy nearly chokes on his drink. He is in deep trouble. The heat from these thefts is way more intense than he ever planned. Deep within the imperial palace, a frantic maid searches for her highness, calling out into the silence. Suddenly, a wooden box creaks open, and a girl in a pink dress emerges after hiding away. This is the third Princess Aurelia, and her little game of hide-and-seek has finally come to an end. But she is not ready to go back, bolting away and demanding they stop their constant supervision. She sprints toward the balcony, her mind racing for any possible way to escape this gilded cage. With the maid closing the distance, the blonde princess starts to panic as her options disappear. She glances over the edge, realizing that a leap of faith is her only remaining choice. Covered in a cold sweat, she stares down at the terrifying drop, waiting below her. Ignoring the fear, she leaps. Gravity claims her as she reaches for the opposite ledge. But mid-air, a cold realization hits she's falling short. Despair takes hold as her maid rushes to the edge, only to scream at her princess's plummet into the abyss. Below, the dense garden canopy swallows everything. Her eyes flutter open to find herself cradled by a mysterious masked figure. Trembling, she stammers, "Who are you?" Confusion clouds her mind. The stranger calmly explains, he couldn't just watch her fall to her death. He promises to find her a safe haven, but then he drops a bombshell. Where's the third princess's chamber? Panic surges through her. He's looking for her without even knowing it. Playing it cool, she insists. No talk until my feet touch solid ground. With a smirk, the wizard ignites his mana. Hang on tight, he commands, soaring into the night sky as she wails in sheer terror, her tears blurring the dizzying heights. From this bird's eye view, the sheer scale of the imperial palace finally hits her. Once they're safe, our hero gets straight to the point. The princess. Where is she? Evasive as ever, the blonde stammers that such secrets aren't shared so casually. When he questions her business, she claims she has urgent deliveries to make across the capital. Without hesitation, the hero offers to help. Setting her down, he reveals the stolen necklace from before, hoping the trinket didn't cause a headache. She stares in shock, but he simply calls it a birthday gift. With a cryptic, "You'll understand soon," the mysterious boy vanishes into the shadows. Trembling in the filth-ridden alley, she's terrified of the swarming rats. Her frantic whimpers stop him in his tracks. She's so helpless, he sighs. With a flick of his wrist, he unleashes his power to incinerate the vermin. Seeing her tears, he softly reassures her that the danger has passed. The nightmare is over. Hilariously, this sheltered princess had never even seen a rat in her life. Before he can disappear, she begs him to stay. Sobbing, she whines that her legs have turned to jelly. She can't move an inch. Soon they're perched above the city, discussing the dark clouds on the horizon. The princess pours her heart out. She's a fugitive escaping her father's suffocating cage. If I stay, I'm a puppet, she confesses. Forced to marry a man I despise. Her voice cracks. How can she bind her soul to a complete stranger just for a title? Our hero is baffled. To him, the concept of being unable to say no is utterly alien. She has the guts to flee, yet she's too scared to stand her ground. It doesn't make sense. Go on a hunger strike, cut your hair, he suggests. Do something drastic to show your resolve. Fake your death if you have to. He insists she can't let others pull her strings forever. It's her life, her choice. He pushes her to seize the destiny she truly craves. His words ignite a fire in her eyes. I'll fight, she vows her, resolve finally hardening. She'll face her father and name her own groom. Our hero smiles, satisfied to have changed another fate. Back at the capital's tavern, a mysterious gypsy slips inside. The bartender instantly pales, scrambling to serve her. But she ignores the pleasantries, her mind focused on a darker mission. She vanishes into a hidden chamber to meet Big Mama, the legendary queen of secrets. Long time no see, Milpia, the informant grins. Finally, the gypsy's true identity is revealed. She's the syndicate's boss. Call me Mama now, she commands, shedding her old skin. She's here because a suspicious customer came sniffing around her shop for intel. The request was chilling detailed files on the Empire's military might. This was no ordinary noble. Something was wrong. Despite her magic, the client vanished into thin air like a ghost. Rumors of a Crow tribe defector are spreading like wildfire, and Mama's already ahead of the curve. She bets her life that the slick-haired stranger and the escapee are one and the same. A heavy silence falls as the realization sinks in. The theory is too perfect to be wrong. If the crows are involved, a bloodbath is coming. Meanwhile, back at the palace, the princess clutches her necklace, a secret smile playing on her lips. She finally knows her next move. The girl hangs her head, apologizing for dragging her friend into this mess. She offers her room as a peace offering, but he shuts that idea down instantly. A heavy silence falls between them. She clutches her necklace until her knuckles turn white before finally vanishing into the shadows. Our hero vows to support the princess's future. The second he departs, a frantic maid finally tracks down the blonde girl after a long search. As he prepares to leap into the void, she pleads for his name. She can't let her mysterious savior just disappear like a ghost. Lupino, he whispers, wishing her sweet dreams. Her face turns beet red as she scrambles to make her escape from the awkward moment. Our protagonist takes flight soaring into the night sky and leaving the stunned blonde girl alone in the moonlight. Staring longingly at the horizon, the minister demands an update, but his team is still coming up empty-handed regarding the investigation. He grills the knights on their failure, then spots a mysterious notebook. He frowns, wondering why this was left here of all places. Flipping through the pages, his eyes widen. It's a literal receipts book of every noble bribe recorded over the last few years. Meanwhile, our MC strides toward the palace, ready to crush his long-awaited exam while keeping a sharp eye on the man ahead. He figures this gift is the least he can do after causing such a ruckus. Things are about to get messy for him very soon. This intel will skyrocket his career. As he flees, he smirks, hoping the Prime Minister enjoys the explosive gift left in his hands. Deep within a frozen wasteland, a lone girl trudges through the snow umbrella, held tight against the biting wind. She's as pale as the drifting snow. Suddenly, a boy named Alfonso charges toward her, screaming urea at the top of his lungs. He sprints toward her but catches an edge, face planting hard into the powder. She just sighs, asking why he's rushing like a madman. He whines about her not waiting. Annoyed by his impatience, she heals her comrade while throwing a few sharp insults his way. She snaps at him to stop grinning like an idiot so he doesn't look clueless. Alfonso's dead set on becoming a legendary warrior. He wants to follow in his uncle's footsteps, slaying monsters across the land. But first, they must survive this Arctic hell to move forward. Out of nowhere, terrifying ice monsters surround the duo, sending chills down their spines as they realize they're trapped. From a distance, she watches in horror as her brother gets cornered, completely unable to intervene or save him from the onslaught. Two massive ice golems loom behind her, ready to crush her into the permafrost in a brutal fight to the death. With no options left, she unleashes her mana, triggering a colossal explosion that rocks the entire mountain and shatters the silence. The ice dwellers scan the wreckage from afar, desperate to know what happened. Nearby, a bearded man watches the chaos in grim silence. Plotting his next move, he knows the endgame is near. A young man mutters that the divine chaos has finally begun. The old man sighs, baffled by why these boys have been spiraling ever since they got obsessed with the mysterious Blady. Deep down, he knows they'll stop at nothing to get what they want, and that spells nothing but disaster for everyone involved. He proudly declares that his grandkids are built different. Once the enemies are wiped out, the scene of the chase begins all over. Alfonso scrambles after Yuria once more, desperately trying to prove he's got the grit to keep up with her intense pace. She mocks his turtle-like pace, wondering how he'll ever reach the capital. Unlike his flying sister, he's stuck running on the ground. Even when shattered, these goblins keep rising. These kids actually hail from the legendary and mysterious Snow Monkey clan. Welcome to the Warrior School's capital, currently decked out in full-blown carnival vibes for the upcoming celebration. The crowds are vibing and living their best lives. The streets are packed today because the entrance exam is finally here. The entrance exam is a massive public festival, one of the 4 major events the night school hosts for the entire city. Massive crowds gather to witness the carnage of the exams. Our redhead girl is missing, likely prepping for her big moment early. The crowd gasps as the Black Buffalo Squadron Knights appear. This is officially the greatest moment of the young man's life. While this is the night's exam, our MC has a secret motive for being here besides just supporting his best friend's test. Tomorrow, the redhead faces her own trial at the Magic Academy. Unfortunately, both exams are happening at the exact same time. It's up to the MC to be their hype man. He never even knew she was a mage, honestly, since they aren't close. He eventually caves, cherishing the night and their bond. A mental health day was long overdue after all that intense studying. He was drowning in exam prep stress. Suddenly, a heated argument breaks out over someone walking around with umbrellas in the crowd. The closer our hero gets, the more the tension spikes between the brawlers as things turn violent. The warrior is fuming at the umbrella wielder, who's desperately trying to apologize for the accidental bump. An apology isn't enough for this thug who threatens to snap his arm. Luckily, a knight with a heart of gold intervenes. He steps in to halt the bullying, noticing the aggressor's arm isn't even broken from the minor collision. It was just a tiny scratch, which only sends the man into a blind fury as he demands satisfaction. A burly man with a mustache suddenly intervenes, calling out the hot-headed Gamli before things get ugly. Retreating into the shadows, he spits out a final threat, vowing to crush them in their next encounter. As the dust settles, our mysterious umbrella boy reveals himself, offering a quiet thanks to his savior. Gratitude hangs in the air, while our protagonist watches from afar, sensing something deeper at play. Deep within the palace walls, the elite gather for the final trial, with little Alice waiting for her name. Tension rises as the clock ticks, but the star invitee Yuria is nowhere to be found. At the final second, she bursts through the doors breathless, but ready to prove her worth. She is here for the magic exam, and her sudden entrance definitely catches the attention of the curious redhead. While waiting, the two friends shift their focus to the arena where the real action is about to go down. It is a bit suspicious that he is studying the exams now, considering his own life-changing test is only hours away. Silence falls over the crowd as the announcer declares the start of the night trials. Talk about a nightmare coincidence, the kid from earlier is facing off against that same arrogant redhead. Trembling with fear, the boy practically begs for his life before the first strike even lands. He plays it cool, claiming he does not know the guy, and lying that he just looks like a dead friend. Alfonso drops his umbrella for a steel blade, facing a mid-rank knight in a true test of grit. Survival is not the goal. It is all about showcasing skill as the two warriors circle each other tensely. The redhead unsheathes his blade, his eyes gleaming with a murderous intent that says, "This is no mere school test." Terror breaks the young man as he bursts into tears while his friends watch helplessly from the sidelines. But the script flips instantly. The boy somehow gains the upper hand, shocking everyone in the stands. Even he is stunned by the massive crater he just carved into the earth, looking completely lost. The main character, an elite mage himself, begins dissecting the raw power on display, while the magic exams kick off simultaneously. 10 students at a time are pushed to their limits as the instructors call the next group forward. Confused by the complex instructions, the white-haired girl speaks up, seeking clarity before the chaos begins. The redhead smirks, wondering if she is even prepared as he breaks down the dual phases of the test. Phase 1 is flight. Phase 2 is precision. Simple rules for a test that is anything but easy. Alice remains silent, though her gut tells her something about this whole situation is incredibly off. Back in the pit, the protagonist is reeling, wondering how a mere brat could tear up the ground so fast. Seeing his rival face down, Alfonso naively checks to see if the guy he just wrecked is still breathing. The soldier lunges back into the fray, causing the clumsy kid to trip over his own feet and hit the dirt. It is a total facepalm moment as Alfonso starts bleeding, leaving the redhead completely baffled by the amateur move. The boy starts rambling about sunlight sensitivity, looking for a doctor instead of finishing the fight. The hype dies instantly as the audience grows bored of the bizarre, lackluster display in the arena. Our hero realizes the truth: the kid has god-tier potential, but zero clue how to actually harness it. All he needs is a master's touch and proper technique to turn that raw energy into a weapon. Lisbon gets the call for the mid-rank trials and heads out, leaving his little sister in the main character's hands. Over at the magic trials, students are hovering in the air until their mana tanks hit zero, and they plummet. The instructor is fuming, calling this year's batch of mages the most incompetent group he has ever seen. Our hero steps in, making his presence known, to give the nervous girl a much-needed confidence boost. Alice is not thrilled to see her brother's messenger, but she listens as the seasoned adventurer offers some pro tips. He tells her to stop overthinking and just let the magical currents flow naturally through her veins. His sudden encouragement feels a bit out of character, leaving her wondering why he is suddenly acting so friendly. The assistant calls her up, and our hero starts hyping the crowd, like a true wingman. Group 4 takes the stage first, tasked with defying gravity through pure magical will. Alice locks in channeling every bit of advice as she focuses on the mana swirling within her. Suddenly, it clicks, energy surges through her body, and she lifts off with effortless, breathtaking grace. Soaring through the sky, she cheers as her plan actually works. She's officially the first one to achieve flight. Now it's crunch time. She locks onto the targets and ignites her flame mana for a rapid-fire strike. Channeling her inner heat, she calculates the trajectory and lets a blazing fire arrow fly toward the mark. Bullseye, but her victory lap is cut short when a mysterious girl in white enters the fray. This newcomer is cracked sniping targets with high-tier ice magic from a massive distance. She's wielding the Ice Queen's crystals, a literal eternal blizzard. She summons an ice lance that screams through the air. Total annihilation of every target. The proctor panics and tells her to chill, because this zone can't handle that much power. One more blast and the whole place blows since there's no barrier. Still, Yuria secures her spot among the top 3 flyers. Our redhead can finally breathe. Meanwhile, the main character is low-key shook by how the white-haired girl handled her mana. Her control is insane, 0 wasted energy, and every single shot was a lethal hit. He never expected to find such a powerhouse lurking near the city. Then Alfonso drops a bomb, that's his big sister. Cut to the arena where Lisbon is eating dirt. A bearded unit of a man just absolutely dismantled him. This Black Buffalo tank asks for Lisbon's name, just to tell him to pack his bags and go home. He says Lisbon's too weak for this league, but the kid stands back up, catching the big guy off guard. He's not finished yet. Driven by pure desperation, Lisbon throws himself back into the fire. The giant respects the hustle. This is the true grit of a knight. But speed alone isn't going to cut it here. Lisbon is fast, but he can't touch him. The vet praises his heart but roasts his sluggish movements. A brutal haymaker sends Lisbon back to the floor. The bearded warrior doesn't give him a second to breathe. He charges in for the finish, but Lisbon pulls off a clutch dodge at the very last millisecond. Talk about an upset Lisbon, parries the heavy blow and counters, actually sending the giant flying back. He finally has the upper hand. By ditching defense and going full aggro, he found a way through. It was a huge gamble. If he missed that opening, his journey would have ended right then and there. He's running on fumes, but his spirit is unbreakable. He's putting everything on the line. It's a relentless exchange of blows. Even with every strike being blocked, he refuses to stop swinging. He lets out a primal roar, pouring his soul into the fight, but the giant finds a perfect opening to counter. The hit lands hard, rocking Lisbon. The giant mocks him, asking what happened to that cool, calm fighter from before. He tells the kid to lock in and trust his training. That spark of advice is exactly what Lisbon needed. Tapping into his hidden reserves, he strikes with insane force, disarming the giant and sending his blade spinning. The giant is stunned, but Lisbon isn't done. He lunges forward with a ruthless final strike. Down goes the giant, but as the dust settles, Lisbon realizes something went sideways. The man is still breathing, just a fresh scar on his face. Lisbon immediately breaks character to check if he's okay. Big mistake. Annoyed by the scratch, the giant delivers a soul-shaking headbutt that sends Lisbon sailing. With a sword at his throat, the giant reminds him the test isn't over. Completely drained, Lisbon finally taps out. He admits defeat, but the giant's smirk is suspicious. Did Lisbon really think it would be that easy? He laughs it off, telling the kid that legends like him are exactly what the squad needs. That news hits like a dopamine shot. Just then, his sister rushes over, ecstatic that our redhead aced her test. He's hyped for her success. Despite the brutal beating, he insists he's fine and ready for more. He's glowing because he actually made the cut. From the shadows, the white-haired duo is observing the whole scene. They admit this crew has potential. As night falls on the academy, the trio heads back to rest up. Plot twist. The siblings are moving in too. The older one greets everyone with a surprisingly polite vibe. They officially introduce themselves, announcing their extended stay at the mansion. The vibe is instantly awkward. No one expected these absolute monsters to be their new roommates. Their reputations precede them, but the group eventually warms up. Then a noble drops by with a specific request. He only trusts this manor to protect his high-profile cousins. Yuria's jaw drops when she sees the guest. It's William Pendria, the legendary general with a royal bloodline and god-tier magic, is standing right there. The youngster freezes, stunned to hear his uncle's name echoed in a shady backstreet tavern. A rough traveler demands a room, but the clerk balks at the high-value coin offered as payment. The mysterious figure sheds her hood, unveiling Leisha Blade on a desperate hunt for her missing brother. Grimy from the road, the siblings just need a bath, but Mac insists on a high-stakes meeting. Squirming under the heavy title, the young boy insists everyone just calls him Len from now on. The Crow Village envoy reveals their currency is so legendary that regular towns cannot even make change. As the girl weighs their options, a shadow lurks in the background, tracking their every single move. That night, they hit a weapon depot where a suspicious merchant questions why they have come to him. Wasting zero time, they shove a photo forward, demanding to know if he has seen the target inside. He draws a blank on the face but points toward a specialist. Meanwhile, they are just seeking change. The merchant sighs, turning those massive treasures into pocket gold is currently an impossible task for his shop. Smelling profit, the shady dealer offers a workaround, leading them into an armory packed with deadly steel. He claims they can trade their high-tier coins for top-shelf gear, turning their wealth into raw power. The girl eyes a staff, but the boy's panic rises. He knows this trade is a total ripoff. He pulls his siblings outside, questioning why they are eyeing junk they do not need for the journey. She just wants the leftover change, but the boy realizes the vendor is a scammer, inflating his prices. The warrior's blood boils to teach him a lesson, but starting a riot would ruin their village's reputation. Better to report this to HQ, since the city is a viper's nest where nobody can be trusted. Suddenly, a thief strikes, snatching a pouch of white gold. The blonde crook thinks he hit the jackpot. He laughs, envisioning a life of luxury, until the elite Crow tribe warriors corner him in an alley. He brandishes his blade with a desperate threat, but a shadow suddenly looms directly behind his trembling back. The warrior slams him down, growling about how annoying it is dealing with trash outside the tribe. As the thief hits the dirt, stolen documents spill out, catching the crook's eye in the moonlight. His jaw drops. He recognizes the hero from the photo, having tried to rob him just days ago. Everyone is floored by the thief's sheer guts. Meanwhile, the massive civil exam finally begins at dawn. Every student, including our protagonist, locks in, pouring their entire soul into the grueling high-stakes test. After the dust settles, students swarm the results board, but the hero looks surprisingly bored by it. His eyes scan the list until he spots it. He has officially passed the first hurdle toward his destiny. Celebration erupts that night as the squad cheers, realizing they have all made the cut for the next round. Their hostess beams with pride, impressed they conquered a test designed to break the capital's brightest minds. The snow disciples are still rough around the edges, prompting a joke about Alfonso getting too comfortable. Moving forward, the hero chooses the dorms to save cash. Despite Alice's warnings about her annoying brother, the mage's heart sinks. They have only just bonded, and now a sudden wall is splitting them apart. She cherishes their same-age connection, sparking a wave of jealousy in the other girl standing nearby. Irritated, she demands to be included, forcing the protagonist to ask if she is finally seeking real friendship. The siblings fall back into their usual bickering, while the hero quietly basks in his hard-won victory. He realizes this flashy lifestyle is not for him. He needs a quiet sanctuary to hone his true power. Disaster strikes when the secretary reveals the dorms are packed. There is not a single bed left for him. To enter training, private rooms are mandatory, yet somehow every single spot has vanished overnight. With his dreams hanging by a thread, he is told to leave his info and pray for a miracle. Meanwhile, a beastly duo arrives at the gates. The cow questions if their long journey was all for nothing. The tiger scoffs, claiming his entire existence has lacked meaning until this very moment of reckoning. He vows that once the world is in his grasp, purpose will be whatever he decides it is. His companion shudders at his greed, warning the lion not to cross the line of no return. He declares his goal: the empire must burn because no one on earth can match his overwhelming might. Chuckling, the lion claims he seeks no conflict, yet his eyes flash with a lethal warning: stay out of his way. Terror paralyzes her as she watches her ally vanish into the sky, realizing that challenging him is a death sentence. Fate has already sealed the deal, and now the grand induction for those who survive the trials is set to ignite. The hall is packed with eager faces, but our hero is preoccupied, low-key salty, that he didn't score a luxury suite. Luckily, the mansion's master offers him a temporary sanctuary. Declining such elite hospitality would be a major flex and a huge mistake, but staying is a trap. He desperately needs to escape this gilded cage before the Prime Minister's eyes lock onto him. Constant surveillance is a nightmare. Suddenly, a rugged, bearded stranger approaches, asking to grab the seat right next to our runaway. He nods, but can't help noticing this newbie looks way past his prime. How did this old-timer even pass the cut? The bald stranger bluntly grills him about his age. Our hero casually reveals he is 16, brushing off the man's blatant rudeness. Thinking it was just weird curiosity, he is stunned when the husky man sighs in relief, claiming they are practically the same age. It is a total jump scare. This guy looks like someone's middle-aged uncle, but he insists he is only slightly older than the kid. After a quick intro, the uncle suggests hitting up a snack spot once this boring ceremony finally wraps up. While the winners celebrate, a mysterious blonde beauty emerges from the shadows, her amulet radiating a pulse of raw mystical power. She sprints toward them, breathless and visibly drained, catching the instructor's attention as she collapses at the finish line. Meet Arian Vaughn. Granted entry into the inner sanctum, she immediately complains that these royal rags are totally killing her vibe. Annoyed and itchy, she grills her maids. Is this uncomfortable cosplay really mandatory just because it is her birthday? They remind her that as the star of the show, she has to look absolutely slaying. But their pep talk is cut short. General William demands an audience. The moment he steps into her private quarters, the atmosphere shifts instantly. The maids gasp as he offers a crisp apology and salutes her for officially making the cut into the Magic Academy. But let's be real, the general played a massive role behind the scenes, pulling strings to navigate her complex engagement. William humbly deflects, insisting her success was all skill. He reveals the real reason for his visit, a royal message. The queen is stressed about her daughter going undercover. If the other students knew a literal princess was in class, they would freeze up. It would ruin her chance at a normal life. But this secret freedom comes with one massive non-negotiable catch. Back to the present. A voice snaps the blonde out of her daydream as a formidable mage steps forward with an update. She is officially assigned as her personal shield for the day. This unexpected shadow immediately starts rubbing the princess the wrong way. An unwanted babysitter, not what she planned. Still, she plays it cool, offering a polite greeting and hoping for some positive vibes. Against all odds, they click instantly. It looks like this unlikely duo might actually become a legendary pair. The academy grind is real. From August to November, the students are buried under a mountain of non-stop hardcore lessons. Our hero is stuck in back-to-back lectures, all leading up to one final brutal exam that determines everything. Then comes a full month of field training in specialized divisions. His buddy leans in curious about the next phase. He wonders what is left on the schedule. Fate smiles on them. Turns out they are both heading to the exact same lecture next. The bald guy politely cuts the chat short, knowing our hero needs to lock in and focus on his studies. A drill sergeant barks orders, forcing everyone into 7 perfect rows. This guy clearly does not do gentle or relaxed. Scanning the ranks, he warns them every session starts like this. This brutal regime is designed to forge peak physical monsters. It is all about health, supposedly. But for our hero, swordsmanship is the real boss fight. He has to stay perfectly undercover. He must suppress his god-tier strength to avoid a disaster. The real challenge, hiding his true power from prying eyes. While he worries about holding back, his bearded companion goes full beast mode, pulverizing a wooden log with raw fury. The instructor is impressed, noting he fights with the lethality of a war veteran. But here's the crazy part. This guy has never stepped foot on a real battlefield. Taking the win, our hero preps his own strike, overthinking his power levels. He tries to hit it with the strength of a wet noodle, yet his weak blow hammers the log deep into the earth. Luckily, everyone is distracted by his buddy's performance, so nobody sees the crater he just made. Time for a new plan. Strategy. Avoid sword class like the plague. Meanwhile, deep within the great temple, ancient statues cast long, imposing shadows. The tiger is lost in thought, until a sudden disturbance snaps him back. A messenger urgently addresses Master Fernando. The report is in, the requested army has been assembled. Slowly, the mysterious figure unmasks, revealing his true face. Stepping into the light, he begins a chilling sermon to his zealots. The mask is off. This is the infamous Cardinal Fernando. His squad thinks it's sus that our hero isn't in his own dorm, but he's forced to keep his mouth shut. After finding out he's officially homeless, a chubby guy offers a spot, but our boy politely passes on that vibe. He decides to just wait for an opening, but suddenly, 2 shady figures in the back catch his legendary intuition. They're straight-up thugs scouting a house to rob, but he tries to mind his business, thinking it's probably nothing major. Still, the guy won't stop pestering him to share a room so they can be besties 24/7. As the sun stays down, those thieves are already scaling walls. And this time, they've targeted a massive high-end mansion. Their plan, sneaking in through the windows. One thief uses a magic staff to silently delete the glass pane entirely. With the path cleared, they slip inside the estate, wasting 0 time as they sprint toward their ultimate prize. They're moving fast when one of them suddenly freezes, spotting a major roadblock standing right in their path. He warns that the hallway is rigged with security spells and dismantling this magical trap is going to take a minute. They go full speed to break the seals using every trick they know until they finally reach the main door. Cracking it open slowly, they step into the vault and lay eyes on a breathtaking divine masterpiece. Behold the golden statue of the goddess, literally the most expensive treasure in the entire capital city. One thief notes the temple's influence tanked after the Demon King's victory, yet the heavy security proves this thing's value. Out of nowhere, our main character appears in a mask to crash the party and save the day. The thieves freak out thinking this masked stranger is a rival looter coming for their gold. It's a hilarious standoff as all 3 stare at the treasure, but the hero senses a strange pulsating magic energy. He flexes his powers and begins draining every drop of mana from the artifact, claiming he's never seen such power. Losing his cool, one thug lunges at the masked hero with a heavy punch, but he's totally outmatched. With a single casual blow, the hero sends him flying, leaving his partner shaking in pure terror at the raw strength. To make sure no one escapes, the hero looms over them, declaring that every sin demands a proper punishment. Meanwhile, the cardinal gets word that the pests trying to ruin his grand master plan have finally been eliminated. He's currently hunting for the Great Mother's hidden base, and his best lead points straight to the Empire's northern territory, specifically a tiny village called Granwell. He's confident he can wipe out the royal family's rats in one decisive strike. But as he's gloating to his men, a massive explosion rips through the wall right behind his back. Amidst the falling debris and heavy smoke, our boy emerges, complaining that this mess is all the thief's fault. He instantly freezes when he realizes he's standing right in front of a whole squad of dangerous cultists. Panicked, he drops a weak lie about not wanting the statue, which only fuels the rage of the man known as the Lion. The Lion realizes the goddess's legendary golden statue is being swiped and bellows for his men to seize the masked intruder. Luckily, our hero is built different, showing off insane speed and skill as he weaves through their desperate attacks. The cultists start spamming fireballs, but he deflects them effortlessly, realizing these fanatics are way beyond talking to. Knowing he's outnumbered, he dives into a black portal, vanishing instantly, and leaving the entire room in total chaos. The guards scramble to find him, wondering how he moved so fast, while Fernando screams for his head. Reappearing on a nearby roof, the boy feels a bit down because his attempt at a good deed went south fast. Suddenly, a mysterious figure teleports right next to him, and the vibe gets incredibly heavy and intense. He asks if the boy really thought he'd get away scotangent-free, before charging up a devastating high-tier magical blast. He vows to make the hero pay with his life, and suddenly this mission just turned into a boss-level fight. Calling upon his god to strike down the defiant, he unleashes a terrifying spell known as the Wrath of the Gods. While dodging, the hero tries to explain it's all a misunderstanding, but the magic detonates in a blinding white explosion. Convinced the thief is toast, the man waits for the dust to settle in the middle of the scorched battlefield. The impact was so violent it cracked the monument, but he's shocked to find he's actually taken some damage himself. His cultists rush in to help their leader, but he snaps at them to shut up in a fit of rage. His target actually managed to slip away, and now his body is screaming in pain from overusing his magical reserves. Safely back at the mansion, the hero realizes that his easy night didn't exactly go according to plan. He ditches the mask, staring at the statue, still in his grip, as he prepares for another day of school. Back at the academy, he tunes out the boring lecture, obsessed with the mysterious statue's true origins. Since his pocket dimension rejected the artifact, he decides to mask it with paint to evade detection. Time is running out to return it. Suddenly, his bald friend asks if he's seen today's shocking headlines. The royal ball celebrating Her Highness's birthday is officially being hosted right at the Magic Academy. Doubting his style, the man questions if our hero even owns a suit fit for high society. He had zero interest in attending, but strict orders mandate every student, even commoners, must be there. It's a mandatory party. Meanwhile, a striking girl named Milpia wanders through the Magic Academy's halls. She's there on a mission for a friend. Big Mama notes her Inside Spy graduates next year. Surprisingly, this girl is only 16, despite her mature vibes. Brushing off her partner's concerns, she acts. She demands entry, confident that her elite skills will make the entrance exam a total breeze. During her studies, strangers approach. It's actually the princess and her guard looking for a place to sit. A late arrival to the capital forced her to miss the main ceremony. Suddenly, a feisty redhead appears. She spills the tea, revealing this mysterious girl is living under the same roof as her guard. As introductions fly, the gypsy observes from the shadows. Her sharp eyes lock onto the target girl. She smells a snow monkey tribe member super weird, since their kind never steps foot in this academy. Intel from the Great Mother confirms the third princess is officially enrolling at the university too. That's why the general's niece joined her as a bodyguard. She suspects the blonde is the royal herself. Is she the legendary princess? Approaching softly, she tries to strike up a conversation with the girl. Feeling lonely on day one is tough, so she offers an invite to an after-class party. The girl flinches. Friendship is a foreign concept to her. Meanwhile, Fernando stands before his fans, questioning his chaotic life. Just before the showdown, blowing up at the occultists for their epic fail, they beg the cardinal to cool his jets. That just triggers him more. Amidst the salt, someone points out that the stolen loot was just a dusty relic. They claim the past is dead, they only ride with the lion for that future glory. Insisting they can't let one old artifact wreck the mission, the old man finally chills and pivots to the main event. The plan is simple, they're making a move on the capital's elite academy. The day of the princess's royal ball is finally here, and the city is absolutely buzzing. Our girl has been undercover at the academy for 1 week, and her intel game is top tier. Her sus meter was right. Ayuria is the general's niece, meaning her friend is likely the princess herself. She bets tonight's the night the truth drops. Suddenly, Alice pulls up, stealing everyone's attention. Moshao is serving major looks in her dress, admitting this is her first time at a formal rager. She's dressed to the nines, though she feels a bit out of place in such fancy threads. Alice's big brother Lise introduces himself with Alfonso, acting like total gentleman. Finally, our main character slides in after a bathroom break. The girls have to admit the boy has drip. He explains the fit is borrowed from Madam because he couldn't show up to a royal ball looking mid, but then a girl in some pretty extra clothing catches the hero's eye. They lock eyes in a heavy silence. Meanwhile, a maid is busy getting Her Highness ready for her big day. While the makeup is being perfected, the general and his bodyguard arrive to drop some birthday wishes. They're strictly there for security and a quick happy birthday to the royal girl. Ayuria gushes over how gorgeous her friend looks, low-key jealous of that royal gown. The princess gets totally flustered, hating when people gas her up too much. On his way out, the general tells his niece to keep an eye on the princess, vibing with their friendship. The blonde asks if her friend wants a glow-up from the royal maids too. Soon the venue starts packing out. Up on the balcony, the adventurer squad is people-watching, stunned by the massive crowd. The little one couldn't care less about the vibes, he's just here for the free food. But the main character is stuck in his head staring at their new teammate. He's sure he's seen that face before. Suddenly, a bald guy rolls in commanding the room. Everyone swaps intros again since they're all roommates now. The bearded guy starts his usual routine. He's hyped to be around people his own age, doubling down on the joke that he and the hero are peers. Then Yuri appears, looking like a total goddess. The main character can't help but notice her beauty. He drops a compliment, making her blush hard. Right then, the blonde beauty approaches. She realizes she hasn't met the squad yet. But man, the princess looks majestic, pure main character energy. Every guy there is stunned, especially the hero. Meanwhile, the general sneaks off to a secret meeting. He enters a literal shack in the city. Inside, we see a guy just messy eating in the dark. William mutters that he should have talked to the princess sooner, clearly annoyed by the situation. He asks why his colleague is even here today. Turns out this mysterious dude is the uncle. With zero manners, the guy talks through his food, claiming he's only here to eat in peace. He tosses a paper to the general. Apparently his youngest nephew pulled a disappearing act. He sketched the kid so they'd know who to look for. William leaves him to it, heading back to the princess. But that drawing, it looks like it was done with actual feet. It's completely unrecognizable. Back at the party, our hero is shook. He finally recognizes the girl standing before him. It's the same girl he saved. He notices her uniform is humming with some weird magical energy. He wonders if the magic is messing with his head, or why her clothes are even enchanted like that. The warrior snaps him out of his daze. He panics if he speaks, his voice will totally blow his cover. Looking into her eyes, he wonders if she's about to snitch and call the guards on him. But she just smiles and introduces herself, saying she's heard all about the legendary hero. She prays they'll vibe together and forge a legendary bond once they're back at the sanctuary. The cultists assemble for the main event. The lion growls, demanding to know if their souls are ready. He grills the fox on the payoff for this twisted scheme. The fox reveals the ultimate prize. Toppling the emperor and seizing the throne is the goal. That girl's birthday is the perfect trigger. Rallying the troops, she declares it's time to unleash their version of divine wrath upon the world. Inside, the elites chatter, while our hero stays ghost, blending into the background like a shadow. He slips into a dark hall, cursing his luck. Running into her, here, is a total disaster. Thank God for the mask, since he wore it before his secret identity should be safe. As he moves, he realizes getting close was a mistake. He's got to ghost her at all costs. A dark rift opens as he summons his mask, a cursed relic that warps how others see him. It's his best bet for staying hidden. But suddenly a lethal presence chills the air behind him. He barely dodges a savage strike, only to realize his own uncle is the one hunting him. The man lunges again, warning him that resisting will only make his painful end come faster. Every narrow miss buys him seconds. Terrified, the boy wonders what sin he committed to deserve this. Suspicion is reason enough. The man is convinced he's found a rat and won't stop the hunt. Then comes a weird question about his zodiac sign. Our hero is completely baffled by the logic. Snapping, the man refuses to repeat himself and unsheathes his blade, ready for a bloodbath. Sunlight floods the streets as the masked duo ignites their plan. The cow senses a disturbance. Something's off, she whispers. The air feels heavy, though she can't quite put her finger on it. She predicts a crimson deluge spilling from the purple woman's ancient scrolls. It's about to get messy. The purple woman smirks, praising those instincts. She actually thrives on the chaos and the desperate screams. She tells the cow to chill. They're just here to enjoy the show from the front row. The rooftop duel intensifies as the uncle storms toward the masked boy with relentless power. You should have surrendered when you had the chance, he roars, sending chills down the protagonist's spine. He begs for a timeout, but the man isn't listening. A lethal blow whistles past his ear. This guy is dead serious about erasing him. He starts overthinking that weird Libra and Pisces riddle. Suddenly, it clicks. He asks if this is about a specific group, finding a tiny crack in the assault. You've got the wrong guy, he shouts, claiming he's not part of that constellation-themed squad. The man isn't buying the act. To him, our hero is just another bottom-tier thief in a costume. Desperate, the boy pivots to flattery, calling him a top-tier knight who shouldn't waste time on nobodies. A warrior like you belongs on the front lines, not chasing a petty masked runner like me." Just as he's yapping, a massive boom rocks, the city shattering the tense atmosphere instantly. This is it, the perfect chaotic distraction to slip away from his uncle's terrifying blade. Sensing the hunter's shift in focus, he prepares to vanish. But the man isn't finished yet. "Where do you think you're going?" he barks. Meanwhile, the ballroom remains in a blissful, ignorant trance. The princess broods in her chambers. Her maid begs her to at least greet the birthday guests. Her dress is enchanted with a distortion hex, ensuring no schoolmates recognize the royal face. She sighs, feeling trapped in the heavy silk. It's been ages since she felt this suffocated. "I need air," she mutters, stepping out for a moment of peace before the party starts. On the balcony, her mind wanders back to that fateful night when the protagonist saved her life. She smiles at the memory of her masked savior, unaware of the shadows lurking on the spires. The protagonist is running for his life, but his uncle is a predator, closing in fast. One wrong step means getting sliced. He needs a high IQ play to shake this monster off. Why is everyone inside still dancing? How did they miss that massive explosion just blocks away? Protective barriers are muffling the chaos, but then an even bigger blast rips through the silence. With everyone's eyes on them, the man wonders what is going down. But the moment he stops to think, he realizes his mark has vanished. Retreating, the main character deduces that these explosions are just a terrorist smokescreen. As he takes flight, he senses a much darker plot lurking beneath the surface of this chaos. Back on the balcony, sinister cultists corner the blonde lady. Their chilling presence demands her full attention. The duo insists she accompanies them immediately. Finally, our hero connects the dots. The real objective of these attacks is the princess herself. But what if his gut feeling is totally wrong? He needs to test a few theories first. Honestly, running away seems best since this terrorist drama is not his problem. Maybe the goal is just pure citywide destruction. If that is the case, leaving now would be a total disaster. His friends will get absolutely wrecked since the explosions are just a distraction for the terrorists to move fast. While soaring, he realizes saving his squad in such a short window might be a mission impossible. He reaches into his pocket dimension and pulls out the Eye of Horus. It is honestly depressing to use it right now, but he is out of options. The artifact awakens, flooding the city with violet energy. Through the magic, he tracks the masked figures, confirming the explosions were definitely a bait. Looking closer, he spots the princess being abducted, which is a major red flag. The poor girl is terrified. She demands to know what they are doing, warning they will be in deep trouble for this. Trembling, she even tries to bribe them to stop. Losing his cool, one of the masked thugs snarls. Things would be simpler if they just knocked her out. Sadly, her magic resistance makes their spells completely useless. Stepping closer, the man threatens her with a terrifying ultimatum. One more word, and there will be consequences. Frightened, she screams, questioning their audacity to threaten royalty. That is the final straw for our hero, who unleashes a devastating assault. The girl shrieks, squeezing her eyes shut to avoid seeing the fatal blow. But things take a weird turn. When she peeks, she sees every single one of her kidnappers face down, on the pavement. To her shock, a voice remarks that it has been a hot minute since they last met. Mr. Lupino arrives just in time, clutching the save once again. But more masked goons are still lurking, rushing back into the fray. To keep her safe, the hero tells the lady to hide while he handles business. The remaining enemies charge the main character, desperate to reclaim the princess. With a single fluid motion, he launches a masked man into orbit with a signature kick. Reappearing behind them, he mocks their amateur terrorist vibes. The last kidnapper draws his blade and lunges. Our skilled hero focuses effortlessly, dancing around the strike, before leaping over him. He then triggers his rocket punch ability. More enemies swarm in like a never-ending horde, determined to take the boy down. The constant reinforcements are starting to drain the protagonist's stamina, and he is officially annoyed. Dodging another swing, he realizes he needs to end this fight instantly. By tapping into his magic, he delivers a bone-shattering elbow strike, dropping the masked man for the count. With pure main character energy, he catches a sword mid-air to boost his defense. Flashing a grin, he warns them not to make so much noise before wiping everyone out in one legendary strike. From afar, the blonde watches, the battle totally starstruck. The plan bounced before the rest of the army shows up. To wrap things up, the hero casually asks the lady out on a date once the chaos settles. The princess is left completely speechless by his sheer audacity. Seeing his fallen henchmen littering the ground, the lion leader approaches intrigued. A survivor points out that this was the work of a mysterious thief. Hearing this, the old man sees it as a divine opportunity. He bellows that God's judgment must be delivered, without delay. The explosions have reduced the city to rubble, but the protagonist's uncle has survived the blast. Looking at the center of the explosion, he is glad everyone is safe when something suddenly triggers his instincts. The hunter narrowly dodges a lethal arrow. He activates his skill, slamming a violet blast into the earth. A masked blade master emerges, and a high-stakes duel begins. Suddenly, the man spots a fatal opening and strikes his opponent down. He obliterates him with one hit, pinning him against the wall. This terrifying display shocks a bystander. Meanwhile, more terrorists crawl out of the woodwork, itching for a fight. It is clear these guys were waiting for the hunter. Quickly, he rains down a storm of arrows on the army. He is nearly crushed by a massive flying boulder. Using his insane strength, he shatters the rock with a single punch. Charging the stones with mana, he flings them at his foes. Out of nowhere, golden chains snare his limbs. With bloodthirsty soldiers closing in, it feels like our hero's final stand is here. The end is near. Outsmarting them, he shatters the bindings and strikes back. The relentless fighting is seriously annoying the uncle. Exhausted and drained, suddenly, an icy blast heralds the arrival of a legend, William Pendria himself. The great general questions Blade's presence in this chaos. In a flash, the hunter realizes the truth. The academy's perimeter is wide open. Massive explosions rock the area, signaling a field of deadly spikes. It is the ultimate chance for terrorists to ambush the heroes. Captain Obvious smells a total trap. Cultists have seized the city. Luckily, our main character is hiding with the girl, totally clueless about the mayhem. He suspects they are hunting the princess. Suddenly, a blast rocks their hiding spot, exposing the two. Strange, since Lupino's stealth spell was active. He soon spots the Dala bracelet pulsing with protective power. That glow gave them away. To escape the heat, the protagonist shatters the enchanted jewelry with magic. With the magic gone, more masks close in. The boy grins, asking for permission to use his tricks. Grabbing the girl, he takes flight, soaring high above the reach of their frustrated pursuers. Little did they know, the cult leader is a top-tier mage. This lion refuses to let his prey escape. Charging into the fray, he ignites his mana, vowing to rain divine judgment upon the lowly thieves. He fires a blinding bolt at insane speeds. A massive explosion erupts in the clouds above. It looks like they are finished. But wait, the villain is stunned because the boy's power is actually insane. He actually deployed a magic shield. Shocked, the leader asks how he survived the ultimate judgment. Fed up, the protagonist vows to crush the terrorist using pure skill. Losing it, he shouts for total silence. While dodging fireballs to stay alive, Lupino deploys his aerial shield at the absolute last second. Mesmerized by the sky's fireworks, the girl falls harder for her hero. To protect her, he casts sleep. Maintaining the spell is brutal against the bracelet's raw mana. Meanwhile, archers rain down arrows on our main character. Exhausted, he taunts them, claiming their puny arrows cannot touch him. But then a swordsman lunges in. Clang. The magic shield stops the blade cold. Once again, no physical attack can breach the mage's defense. He is way too cracked. The leader's top lieutenants tag team him, but he expertly charges two shields while dodging. While tanking the blow, an enemy tries a backstab. Plot twist, our hero flips upside down mid-air. He is styling on them, dodging every strike while cradling his girlfriend. He moves like a total pro. Charging a massive energy beam, he blasts the white-haired masked man point blank. Seeing his partner fall to scar, he is shook. The main character jokes that surviving should be his only priority before taking him down too. One precise strike sends him crashing. But the arrow rain just keeps coming for our young legend. Despite the fatigue, he blocks the volley while prepping another attack. He literally flings their arrows back. Small fish belong in the ocean, he scoffs, piercing their hearts with lethal precision. The lion is fuming. He screams for the boy to stop this disrespect. Unleashing divine magic he calls God's punishment. The boy is just confused by the old man's yapping. Drained, he begins condensing a massive atomic core. In his eyes, the terrorist is the only one who deserves to be judged today. The villain is stunned when his ball is dodged. To end this, the hero breaths a firestorm. There is no escaping this. But the powerhouse is built different, activating his legendary fairy wind magic. He survives, but the rapid-fire impacts are shredding his health. He is taking some serious damage now. He counters with his divine blade. Parrying, Lupino smirks, noting the old man has still got some kick. Finally, he readies the neutron sphere. The sheer energy output is literally turning night into day. According to the Seven Spears, the future has one path, and it leads to a single conclusion. The hero invokes a legendary weapon from Celtic myths. This is the true name of his ultimate strike. A massive shockwave rips through the sky. Moving at light speed, it leaves the lion no room to dodge. The impact is so violent it creates man-made meteors. From the distance, the two generals witness the victory. Pendria senses the mana levels spiking past the limit. The city below is nothing but smoking ruins. Gasping for air, the mastermind rouses from the dirt, only to witness his entire army slaughtered. Blood stains Mario's lips as the loyal second-in-command breathes his last, pleading for his master's dark ambition to live on. Overwhelmed by the loss of his truest comrade, tears of agony finally break through his cold facade. A violent cough shatters his chest, his insides shredded from the impact. The hero emerges, refusing to give him a second to recover. Done with the occultist's cryptic babble, the blonde girl finally snaps awake as the magical binding dissipates. Her eyes flutter open to a world of calm. Relieved, the two warriors rush toward Her Highness to ensure her safety. They frantically check the princess for any wounds, letting out a sigh of relief as the crisis finally ends. Life in the capital resumes its rhythmic hum. Meanwhile, the gypsy slips through the crowd bound for a hidden rendezvous. She vanishes into a shadow-drenched alley, but a chilling presence stops her cold. Steel glints in the dark, she's completely surrounded. A commanding figure steps forward, a smirk playing on his lips as he greets Milpia after their long separation. As the Great Mother's top intel operative Milpia demands to know why her associate has cornered her with such hostility. With the execution squad looming, Milpia realizes the girl is caught in a lethal trap. The girl is completely oblivious to the chaos. Then, a magical scroll is thrust into Milpia's hands. Her heart drops. It is a crystal-clear image of her meeting with the notorious terrorist. The commander narrows his eyes. He has seen right through her schemes. Cornered Milpia desperately spins a web of lies, denying any involvement in the plot. But there is no mercy for a rat. With a cold command, the soldiers surge forward to execute the traitor. With a final icy goodbye, the trap closes. Milpia screams that this is all a catastrophic misunderstanding, but no one listens. Crimson stains the pavement as the gypsy is ruthlessly cut down, her body broken by the overwhelming force. It was a setup the general had been played from the start. In her dying breath, confusion clouds her fading mind. The incriminating evidence was a forgery all along. Then the Great Mother herself emerges from the shadows. She mocks their pathetic attempts at deception. The mask finally slips, exposing the real snake in their midst. The intel head was the true turncoat. With a sadistic grin, she delivers the final lethal blow to her subordinate. Amidst the screams and savagery, the gypsy stands paralyzed by the sheer brutality. A sudden power vacuum now grips the organization. The top position sits empty. Moving elegantly, the personal maid steps into the light. The Great Mother decrees that the maid will now command the capital's barracks, sending a shiver down the girl's spine. Doubts cloud her mind, but the Great Mother ignores her hesitation, casually inviting her to dinner before vanishing into the night. Trembling, she wonders why she was not warned. With a twisted smirk, the Great Mother reveals her dark truth. She simply adores surprises. Meanwhile, the scene shifts to the moonlit spires of the Imperial Palace. Following the chaotic assault, the princess finally drifts into a peaceful slumber on her birthday night. Prince Xantes gazes at his sleeping bride-to-be before being summoned to a high-stakes emergency summit. The room is packed with the capital's elite, including the legendary generals Blady and William Pendria. The Emperor notes Xantes' tardiness to his debut council. With a nonchalant shrug, the blonde prince offers a brief apology. He promises punctuality in the future, prompting the impatient general to demand the briefing start immediately. They confirm the bait-and-switch operation was a success. The princess served her purpose perfectly, ensnaring the insurgents. The lion was the sole informant, yet the battle maps reveal two unexpected intruders, the cow and the scorpion. Confusion ripples through the ranks. Why did these two legendary figures appear, if the intel was fabricated? Scouts confirm they remained neutral, merely observing the carnage from the periphery of the battlefield. The guildmaster grumbles that their elaborate trap only managed to ensnare the lion. The terrorists divided into 3 strike teams to infiltrate the academy, but Xantes abruptly cuts the briefing short. He spots a blurred figure soaring through the clouds, likely using distortion magic to scramble the city's surveillance network. This ghost in the sky remains unidentified, yet the princess claims to know exactly who he is. She calls him Lupino, the infamous phantom thief who has been terrorizing the capital's vaults lately. Xantes wonders if this mysterious burglar is actually a member of the legendary 12 constellations. Rage flares within him. The thought of any threat lurking near his future wife makes his blood boil. The Emperor demands an end to the hostilities, but Xantes slams his chair back, furious at the decree. Defiant, he reveals the Emperor is his father and Princess Aurelia's brother. He's the 6th prince. The boy bolts, stunning every general present. Without protest, the Emperor commands them to let his son leave. He admits the boy's claims are valid. However, he must accept reality and follow the capital's grand design. After all, they say a ruler's mind should never be clouded by petty personal emotions. Alone in his room, the sheltered boy sobs. That night, sinister occultists desperately try to heal their leader. After massive infusions of healing mana, the man stirs. It's revealed that tragically the nightmare isn't over. Scar survived the previous slaughter. Regaining consciousness, Fernando immediately asks if his loyal henchman is nearby. Realizing his location, he hears his soldiers whispering in fear, and asks if Mario died in battle. Recalling their defeat, a soldier confirms Vibrio survived, though he is currently nursing some serious wounds. Admitting he ruined a perfect pair and betrayed the former Scar, the brooding warrior rests in the infirmary. The emo swordsman removes his necklace. Suddenly, the scene shifts to the peaceful southern farms of the Empire. This quiet town holds a massive monument called St. Percival. Inside, the Pope is lost in deep prayer. Mid-meditation, he senses an arrival and welcomes them, noting that St. Hillis looks incredibly elegant. As midnight approaches, she thanks the holy priest for granting her an audience so late at night. The old man couldn't refuse her after such a long trek. They step out to share some tea. Sadly, nothing in life is easy, and her recent expedition was a total nightmare. Still, she believes that something fascinating happened during her travels. This sparks the Pope's curiosity, making him eager for details. Suddenly, a sharp noise shatters the silence, instantly grabbing both of their attention. The Pope is shocked to see the girl shedding magical tears as she reflects on her journey. It seems disaster struck her sister. The blonde reveals she's actually talking about the emo paladin Vibrio. It's bizarre because she owns a breathtaking necklace that took an entire year to craft. Standing up, the girl apologizes. She must rush to the capital to save her family from ruin. Worried for his peer, he offers guards for the journey. But the girl stands her ground firmly. She claims she's fine and met powerful allies recently. Inside, the church shadows begin to move. People wonder about entering a forbidden room, revealing the three siblings currently hunting our protagonist. Without a moment's rest, the story jumps to a desert 30 days before the city's grand ball. The weary adventurers wonder when they'll reach the village. The youngest member offers a sheepish apology. He blames himself for being careless. Their leader lowers her hood, saying it's not entirely his fault. She blames the mess on someone being too reckless. That jab is aimed directly at her vice-captain brother. The boy makes no excuses. He steps up, ready to take full responsibility for his blunders. They just want a place to rest. It's been 10 days since they began tracking the young genius. Finally, they've secured a lead on his location. In fact, 2 days ago, a breakthrough occurred. They hired a guide to reach the Empire's capital by rail. Unfortunately, things took a dark turn. Their tribal currency is extremely valuable, making trade difficult. Their massive cash reserves became a problem. Their guide turned greedy and tried to rob them. It was an easy win for these elite warriors. These fighters are built different. They wiped everyone out, failing to leave even one survivor for questioning. Being logical, the youngest asks if flying to the nearest village wouldn't be much faster. It's a solid idea, but there's a catch. The girl has never actually used flight magic before. To make matters worse, she's deathly afraid of heights. Luckily, her power tracks water pointing toward a village. Later that night, camel riders gather, spotting the fallen guide's broken bodies in the sand. Seeing the total destruction, they wonder if this was the work of highly trained assassins. There's no sign of poison. The victims' hearts were crushed with one strike. Total pro work. Atop a camel, a muscular man with a scarred eye watches. Finally, the adventurers reach a hotel. They beg for a room, but there are no vacancies. To make things even worse, this is the only lodging in town. Just then, a bearded man approaches with a question. The innkeeper bows in apology, explaining that a high-profile VIP has booked the entire establishment today. Sadly, every single room is off-limits, leaving our trio stranded without a roof over their heads. Fuming, the warrior snaps, demanding if scoring a bed is really this impossible, as he reaches for his blade. Unfazed, the bearded man narrows his eyes, questioning exactly who this brat thinks he's talking back to. A petty shouting match erupts between them, but the vibe shifts as a squad of soldiers emerges from the shadows. Their leader steps forward, pinning the trio with a cold glare, while warning them to watch their mouths. He spits out a lethal threat, snarling that those reckless words might just be the very last they ever speak. That's music to the fighter's ears. He's always preferred letting his fists do the talking regardless of the opponent. Brimming with arrogance, he's certain no one here can even graze him, let alone stand a chance in a real fight. As he lunges forward, he taunts them to show some spirit, only for a sudden voice to halt the carnage. The command freezes the bearded man in his tracks as the saint herself steps into the flickering light. Clearly displeased with the chaos, she offers a sincere apology for her subordinate's blatant disrespect toward the travelers. She humbles herself for her crew's behavior. While elsewhere in the Empire, a grim report reaches a powerful lord. News of the missing scarlet crystals sends the masked man into a cold, questioning rage. He demands their value be known, but a hulking warrior calmly vows to hunt down and reclaim the loot. He suspects they weren't even thieves but accidental looters caught in the crossfire, leaving one burning question remaining. Has the young hunter tracked their scent yet? For a master scout like him, no prey stays hidden for long. He's already identified them, a pair of enigmatic siblings marked by blood-red eyes and a shroud of mystery. Breaking the ice, the young woman offers a warm smile and introduces herself to ease the lingering tension. Acknowledging that her presence cost them their lodging, she expresses deep regret for the major inconvenience. She blames her own lack of foresight, but the exhausted boy cuts through the chatter, wanting immediate results. He demands a room to settle the score, but the young woman's patience begins to wear thin. Proclaiming her soldiers are divine vessels of mercy, she suddenly commands everyone to drop to their knees. She unleashes a terrifying binding spell, horrifying the youngest member who hates such brutal displays of power. Insisting that sinners require discipline, she grants them a free night's stay as a form of divine restitution. With a sudden eerie shift in mood, she invites them to pick any suite and make themselves at home. The brothers stand paralyzed by her erratic behavior as night falls over the mysterious desert city. The hulking investigator pores over documents recalling reports of his targets flashing rare white gold currency. Those coins are more than money, they're a secret ticket for anyone desperate to infiltrate the shadowy organization. Morning light hits, and the boy bolts upright, realizing his brother's beds are already cold and empty. He rushes out only to spot his crew casually sharing a feast with the enemy soldiers across the hall. They wave him over for breakfast, the warrior laughing that they've all become best buds after their little brawl. Even the general bows, formally apologizing for the heated clash that nearly turned deadly. He admits that knowing their tribal lineage would have secured a room, instantly sending a chill down the kid's spine. He hadn't realized their secret identity was common knowledge now, and the truth was actually far more chaotic. Turns out the vice captain had blabbed their entire life story and how they got stranded in this wasteland. He also learns the shocking truth that girl from last night is the saint of the Great Percival Temple. The kid panics, remembering the legend of the saints chosen 80 years ago, until a sharp voice cuts him off. The saint storms in, berating the men for chugging ale so early when they have a mission to complete. With a long trek ahead, the boy bows, politely stunned to be in the presence of someone so legendary. She's a world-renowned figure, and she's already caught wind of the ambush they suffered at the hands of bandits. To ensure their safety on this week-long trek, she offers them a spot within her elite-guarded caravan. Deep in the desert dunes, a sinister figure atop a camel approaches, casting a long, threatening shadow as he speaks. He demands to know if any red-eyed strangers have passed through, acting on orders from that hulking commander. On a desperate hunt for clues, the investigators track their next lead straight into a rowdy local tavern. They stormed in, interrogating everyone without a shred of mercy. The poor elder almost tasted their heavy fists. He hungered for the truth, but his hands were tied. A literal sea of warriors blocked any hope of retaliation. "We're on a tight schedule," the leader growled, warning the bartender to start talking before things got ugly. He demanded the location of the adventurers once more. To his shock, the reply was, "They've vanished with the saint." Moments prior, the caravan was already clear of the city gates, flanked by a squad of elite battle-hardened guards. Within the carriage, the girl wove a delicate spell, flooding the space with a refreshing, soul-soothing frost for recovery. The saint sighed in relief, thanking her for the respite. But there's a catch: these women are strictly forbidden from magic. Apparently it is for their own growth, as magic would ruin the pilgrimage's purpose. Intrigued, the boy couldn't help asking. He questioned if their presence on this journey was even allowed, but the girl assured him everything was perfectly fine. Truth is, she was dying of boredom, traveling solo. But their chatter was cut short by a sudden road disturbance. Peering out, they saw a grim sight, the captain clutching a bloodied arm surrounded by his weary, battered soldiers. Scanning the horizon, he narrowed his eyes. A massive, shadowy legion was surging toward them from the distance. It was an ambush. Enemy troops were closing in fast. "Battle stations," he roared, ordering everyone to hold the line. They had to shield the saint with their lives. The boy's eyes turned cold. Friend or foe, he would strike back. He planned to unleash absolute hell. He'd make those red-eyed bastards crawl and kneel no matter the difficulty. The carnage intensified as thousands more enemies approached. Even in their tightest formation, the saint's guards began to waver. Terror gripped the ranks as the sheer numbers became clear. Then, like a phantom, a lone swordsman stepped onto the field. His target was the enemy general's head. With a flash of steel, the expert warrior parried a lethal assassin strike. "Guard the saint," he commanded, vowing that not a single soul would lay a finger on the young maiden today. A lone soldier charged into the fray, cutting down foes. Yet for every 10 he killed, 100 more appeared. They kept coming, relentless and hungry. Then on the horizon, a second nightmare appeared, a literal legion of enemy mages. Raising their staves, they ignited the sky. Dozens of roaring fireballs screeched through the air toward the frantic warriors. There was nowhere to run. A massive explosion consumed the lines, seemingly wiping out the entire unit in an instant. But through the smoke, the girl emerged behind a barrier. "Basic fire magic," she scoffed. "Is that all you've got?" With a smirk, he reminded them of their fatal mistake. "You guys really have no idea who you're messing with." A series of devastating blasts sent enemies flying. The warrior grinned, his thirst for battle finally being quenched. This was the moment he'd been waiting for. Sensing his men's fear, the hulking commander roared a rallying cry. "Don't falter now," he bellowed, claiming their massive numbers would surely crush the opposition and bring them absolute victory. Fearless, the fighter asked if the warm-up was over. Then he slammed the ground, unleashing a volcanic firestorm. The inferno incinerated everything. Nearby, the sorceress rained down lethal energy beams, taking down even more enemies with precision. The enemy was being slaughtered like cattle. From a distance, 2 observers realized the ravens were truly on another level. Their power was monstrous. Leading his own squad, the bearded veteran commanded his units to follow him into battle. The plan was simple: take out those dark mages. But the enemy casters were already prepping another volley of fireballs. They zeroed in on the carriage, but every single fireball shattered against the saint's invincible, shimmering magical barrier. Failing repeatedly, the mage commander snarled in frustration. He noticed his subordinates were starting to hesitate and freeze up. "Keep firing, you idiots," he screamed. but as one mage prepped his spell, an arrow buried itself in his face. Then the rest of the mages began dropping like flies, leaving their leader standing all alone in the distance. The holy soldiers closed in chanting of divine punishment. Still, the man laughed arrogantly, boasting no one could defeat him. Fireballs collided midair, triggering a series of thunderous detonations. As thick black smoke choked the sky, the mage smirked. He laughed, calling his enemies useless trash. But his joy turned to pure panic. When an arrow grazed his cheek, the shaft found a new home in his ally's chest. The bearded warrior loomed, asking if he actually thought he'd survive. "You betrayed the heavens," he hissed, "so your journey ends in blood." Little did he know, the saint was powerful. She cast a massive aegis over her warriors. Praying to the heavens, she begged for protection in this slaughter. Boiling with rage, the lead mage barked out a final desperate order: "Kill them all, wipe them out right now." He unleashed fiery shocks toward the camels. But fueled by the blessings, the captain focused solely on defeating the mage. "Slay them all," he bellows, commanding total annihilation as his elite forces swarm the blood-soaked field. Every lethal swing carves through the front lines, catching the villain off guard with their sheer, unexpected ferocity. Terror grips his heart as he abandons his men, fleeing like a coward, while a soldier's roar echoes. Desperate to give chase, he suddenly freezes a fatal wound to the gut, draining the life from his body. A dead-shot marksman watches as a hulking figure looms over him, radiating an aura of pure, suffocating dread. Eyeing his broken prey, he draws his steel, ready to deliver a final, merciless blow to end this struggle. Suddenly, a thunderous voice commands a halt as a devastating shockwave tears through the air toward him. The zealot barely parries the blow, skidding back as he frantically scans for the monster who dared challenge him. Stepping forward, the warrior marks the swordsman as the pack leader. Now the real carnage finally begins. He plans to unleash hell, but for the Titan, seeing those crimson-eyed foes is exactly what he wanted. While soldiers bleed for victory, the saint glows within her carriage, pouring divine protection over her weary allies. Channeling pure celestial energy, her desperate prayers stitch together, flesh and bone, reversing a certain gruesome death. Life floods back into the bearded warrior's broken form, leaving the enemy fighter stunned by this miraculous recovery. Witnessing the saint's power, two adventurers now face the Titan alone, their eyes locked in a deadly knowing gaze. He is no ordinary thug, the captain warns. This is the legendary Black Knight, the infamous Malaysia himself. The king of mercenaries. The boy just scoffs, finding the title hilarious while his battle lust begins to boil over. Malaysia winds up a world-shattering strike, but a desperate parry intercepts the blow just before impact. Dodging a grisly fate, the boy's lips curl into a predatory grin as he charges back into the fray. The general smashes the earth, sending tremors of destruction rippling outward until the very last heartbeat. His heavy axe takes the brunt, though a lingering energy blast leaves his muscles screaming in protest. His rival lunges for a one-hit kill, but years of brutal training allow for a perfect instinctual defense. Holding his ground unscathed, he leaves the scarred youth trembling with shock that the battle still rages on. His blade shatters like glass, but the young man counters with a monstrous punch that sends his foe flying. He hurtles through the air, smashing into solid stone with bone-breaking force before he can even blink. Closing in for the kill, the boy taunts his broken enemy, daring him to dodge the incoming finisher. The veteran mercenary plays dirty flicking sand to blind his opponent just as the final strike descends. Exploiting the momentary blindness, he drives a brutal fist straight into the boy's face with sickening force. Blood trickles down, but the wound is shallow. Emboldened, he bellows that no soul can stand against him. Fed up, he seizes the giant's arm and delivers a bone-crunching strike to the nose, dazing the brute instantly. Still acting tough after that beating, he mocks. Suddenly, the scarred warrior's eyes widen in realization. This kid is from the legendary Crow tribe. He looks around, his entire army has already been decimated. "Drop your weapons," the captain commands. "Surrender now, or this battlefield will become your final resting place." Over 1,000 corpses litter the earth around the carriage, a grim testament to the absolute slaughter. The sorceress rains down magical devastation, but the boy stubbornly refuses to admit that it is game over. Claiming the war isn't over yet, he gathers his remaining strength for a massive, earth-shattering ground slam. A dense wall of smoke erupts, masking his cowardice as he vanishes into the gray, leaving his allies. Simultaneously, a masked figure blasts a trumpet, signaling a horde of reinforcements to join the fray. Retreat and regroup, the command echoes, leaving the Holy Knights stunned by the enemy's sudden tactical flight. Confused, they watch as the coward flees, abandoning the field just to save his own miserable skin. "Follow me, move out," he barks. Once clear, he frantically checks his remaining unit for any casualties. They are safe, but as the girl emerges, exhaustion shadows her face as she berates her incompetent guards. "I told you to stay safe," she fumes, nearly collapsing from the soul-draining strain of her divine magic. Darkness swallows the desert dunes as thousands of silhouettes march toward an unknown shadowy fate in the distance. Two scouts shadow the army realization, hitting them like a truck. They are all marching straight for sacred Zarahan. A celestial tree illuminates the heavens, as the disgraced leader crawls through the shadows haunted by his cowardice. He stalks toward the massive manor, carrying a report that could shift the scales of power. Stepping inside, his eyes lock onto the Black Mage commander, the coward who deserted the front lines. Panic surges through him. If this walking corpse talks, his secrets are absolutely toast. With one lethal flick of his wrist, he executes the deserter on the spot. Pure karma. The mages freeze in terror as he cold-bloodedly reveals the bald fraud abandoned his own squad. He traded his allies' lives for his own skin, leaving the bearded mage stunned into silence. The hooded figure erupts in fury upon hearing the scarlet crystal is still missing. Total failure. Do you even realize the stakes? He roars, sparking a tense standoff with the frustrated leader. If you're so obsessed with that shiny rock, go fetch it yourself, he snarls back. He brazenly chooses survival over honor, sending a wave of irritation through the entire room. You looking for an early grave, kid? They challenge him, but his deadly smirk says, try me. As he walks out, he drops a chilling warning. Count the bodies before you come for me. You're just letting him walk. The hooded man fumes, but the elder snaps. The ritual begins now. Ignoring the missing artifact, he stares at the corpse. Human greed. Truly the ultimate catalyst. Sinister purple mana floods the room, leaving the underlings trembling and confused by the sudden power surge. The fallen mage's flesh melts away, consumed by the dark arts, until only bleached bones remain. Behold, the elder grins. True darkness is forged from the purest malice of the human soul. He commands them to embrace the abyss forever. The men spiral into panic, begging for mercy. Mercy is a myth. He drags them into another dimension, while the city guards notice the noise. As shadows move in the distance, 2 guards are erased before they can even draw steel. The silent invaders slip into the city. Little do they know the saints are closing in fast. At the crack of dawn, the captain leads a relentless purge, cutting through enemies like butter. How did they track us? They gasp, realizing they're completely outnumbered by an unseen force. Should they call for backup? Too late. Someone screams, the enemy is already among them. From the sidelines, the bearded mage watches the chaos unfold, his mind racing to process the carnage. His eyes widen as he spots the one leading the charge, the legendary paladin Mario. Steel clashes against steel as both sides throw everything into this high-stakes deathmatch. A familiar shout cuts through the noise. Albastos approaches his presence, sparking instant curiosity. What are you doing here? Before he can answer, a rogue mage crashes the party looking for blood. The captain parries a lethal staff strike perfectly, setting up his comrade for a devastating counter. Talk later, survive now, he barks. The new mission wiped this area clean of hostiles. While they thin the herd, the mansion erupts in a blinding, malevolent light that consumes the sky. Every warrior feels the chilling mana. From the shadows, the elder emerges, but he's no longer human. With glowing demonic eyes, he scans the battlefield. To him, everyone is just another soul to reap. The truth is grim. He sacrificed every single henchman to fuel his godlike transformation. His flesh twists and warps, evolving into a primal, nightmarish beast that defies all logic. Explosions rock the city as the monster tears through the holy knights like they're made of paper. The elite knights look like total amateurs, falling one by one to the beast's overwhelming brutality. The bearded mage trembles before this absolute unit. Then the monster begins chanting a forbidden spell. A blast gathers in its maw, but Paladin Mario lunges in, charging up a massive counterstrike. Mario lands a heavy blow, tearing through the Elder's defenses before things get even worse. It's useless. The beast's wounds knit back together in seconds. The guy has insane regen hacks. Massive tentacles whip out, sending Mario flying. Fall back, the captain screams. He's a monster. Determined to go solo, the captain faces a storm of demonic tentacles erupting from the monster's arm. The beast hungers for knight souls, absorbing them to grow. Massive tentacles reduce the city to rubble. Despair hangs heavy over the rubble where a broken army lies. Only the captain remains standing. He is clinging to life with every ounce of strength as the beast looms, charging a devastating strike. Seconds remain before total annihilation. As he shuts his eyes to face the end, a shimmering barrier suddenly erupts. A girl steps forward, asking if he has already forgotten their sacred oath. She vowed he would never bleed again. The saint has arrived, shielding her loyal guardian from certain death. The youngster joins the fray, refusing to stand by, while their comrades suffer in the dirt. Enraged, the tentacle lord lunges, seeking a total wipeout. But a warrior flashes into the chaos, cleaving through a massive limb to halt the killing blow. As he presses the attack, he grumbles about the sheer exhaustion of it all. He snidely asks if they are even on the same side. The girl snaps at him to cut the chatter since time is a luxury. She begins weaving a massive incantation. Vowing to end this mess instantly, she erupts a roaring firestorm directly at the beast. The blast is titanic, swallowing the creature in a sea of flames and shattering its defenses. Yet the monstrosity surges forward, relentless. A fighter barely escapes the grasp of its writhing limbs. He leaps away with a smirk, clearly enjoying the adrenaline. Meanwhile, the vice captain prepares his move. His axe bites deep, but horror dawns as new tentacles sprout instantly from the bloody gashes. Stunned, a massive impact sends him flying. Just as the finishing blow descends, arcane barriers snap into place. Nearby, the mage floods her staff with raw magical power. She unleashes the cutting wind, but the beast tanks the hit and retaliates with blinding speed. Risking everything for his sister, the man intervenes, severing a dozen limbs in one clean sweep. This opening lets the girl ignite a fire wave so fierce, it threatens to level the entire battlefield. Observing from the shadows, a buff stranger smirks, relieved to see the sun will rise again. At the tavern, a bald patron grumbles about his buddy being stuck with an impossible mission. Messy paperwork only adds to the kid's misery, though the big man thinks it is an easy fix. Trusting in his talent, the boy grows quiet. He dreams that one day, his grind will make him a general. Chugging his drink, he tries to drown his mounting stress. Testing his own limits, the veteran groans about being saddled with yet another rookie. The blonde questions if he is still haunted by history. It has been 5 long years, he admits. That guilt should have faded, but for the man in glasses, the pain remains raw. It feels like yesterday. He slides over a dossier concerning the elusive criminal known as Scorpion. Scrutinizing the file, he is puzzled. The target looks way weaker than Scorpion's own henchman. After a moment of silence, he concludes the man will not survive the mission. Yet he is braced for tragedy, vowing to finish the job. Suddenly, a warrior raps on the door. Calling out for dinner, he steps inside only to find the chamber eerily empty. A curious item on the desk catches his eye. Meanwhile, our hero seethes at the library manager. Looming like a reaper, the boss mocks his worker for arriving far too early for comfort. His first trial, sorting a mountain of ancient tomes strictly by their date of origin. Blazing through handwritten logs, he finishes instantly, leaving the old man slack-jawed in disbelief. Hyped up, he demands more work. The manager just smirks, revealing the next grueling phase. Now he must categorize them by district. Determined to flex his skills, he vows to crush it. Hours of fueled spite pass as the lead finishes, desperate for a moment of silence. Then comes the grim task, indexing the years deceased and physically excising their names from records. The blatant unfairness is pushing him to the brink. Once the clock strikes, he bolts out. He spits curses at his boss while pulling a brutal all-nighter to clear his plate. A shadowy figure tracks his every move. Exhausted, our hero heads to a pub to decompress. He whispers a cryptic code to the barkeep before noticing that mysterious girl near his quarters. A spark of recognition flickers between them. It has been ages since their paths last crossed. After grilling her for intel on his mark, the sorcerer retreats home, his mind racing with heavy thoughts. He realizes this career is becoming a dead end. Suddenly, he spots the target exiting a pub, clutching a briefcase. Moving closer, memories surface of his gypsy companion, who secretly pulls shifts at this very establishment. Clocking in, he finds a literal mountain of paperwork waiting, turning his shift into a soul-crushing grind. Every minute, he silently curses the manager, the man responsible for his daily morning hell. A dark idea takes root. It is time for payback. He initiates his plan with a simple, calculated offer. He asks a coworker if they want tea, realizing he brewed enough to serve the entire office. He secretly conjures a gut-wrenching bloom. Wearing a fake smile, he passes out the drinks like a friend. The poisoned brew lands on the manager's desk. Unsuspecting, the boss takes a fateful gulp right in his office. Suddenly, he is coughing up crimson fluid. Panic erupts as the boss collapses and someone screams for a priest. This was not the plan. His prank spiraled into a nightmare. Luckily, word arrives that the man might survive. A colleague scoffs, joking that the rookie's amateur magic was too weak to actually kill anyone. In truth, our hero's magic stabilized the manager's condition. The office is stunned by his hidden talent. Amidst the whispers, a blond man steps forward, his gaze piercing as he demands a private word. They depart, heading straight for the imposing fortress of the Order of the White Knights. Forensics discovers the toxic plant in the victim's gut. Now the boy is cornered in an interrogation room. Analyzing the evidence, he realizes a foreign substance was added, that red vomit was not his doing. Sweating, he wonders who else wanted the boss dead. The investigator pressures the boy for a full confession. A sudden interruption stops them cold. 2 friends defend him just as the captain makes his grand entrance. The captain half-heartedly apologizes for his subordinate's rudeness before coldly dismissing the boy from the scene. He offers a stiff thanks for saving the manager's life, but the atmosphere remains thick with tension. Protocol must be followed, and the investigation continues. He reveals they found something far more sinister inside. Herbal morphine was hidden in the mix. Trapped, the protagonist frantically searches for an escape route. Cornered, he drops a bombshell and confesses his guilt, sending shockwaves through the entire room. He claims the boss's constant abuse finally broke him. It looks like a simple act of revenge. He explains these mountain herbs were for his alchemy studies, spinning a tale that blurs the truth. The captain realizes the boy's alchemical genius is what truly kept the victim's heart beating. Even so, he is grounded. He strikes a deal, give him 1 day to unmask the real culprit. The captain is skeptical, doubting a mere trainee could pull off such a high-stakes investigation. The hero explains the poison has a delayed reaction. Confused, the blonde asks for the scientific breakdown. By coating the pill, the toxins only release after hours. This narrow window points directly to the killer. He confidently assures the captain that he already knows exactly where the rat is hiding. Released, he hunts his prey. He checks the maps of Big Mama's crew to locate their secret hideouts. He recalls seeing the manager meeting those thugs just before the incident. He arrives at the tavern. A soldier suddenly blocks his path, barking orders for him to enter the establishment immediately. Emerging from the chill, a lieutenant from the White Knights appears acting on the captain's direct orders. Forced into an uneasy partnership, the two eye the bar, ready to initiate the sting operation. They sweep inside their eyes, scanning the smoky room for any sign of their elusive targets. A waiter greets them, but our hero cuts to the chase with a cryptic pre-arranged code. He orders a charcoal roasted pig, a phrase that sends a visible jolt through the bald server. Signaling the green light, the waiter leads them toward a hidden chamber, ready for the truth. The lieutenant remains wary, his hand near his blade as they descend deeper into the shadows. The gypsy woman enters the room, her eyes widening in pure shock when she recognizes her old friend. She knows him from their school days, but the weight of the situation forces her to stay silent. A sense of déjà vu hits him hard. He's definitely crossed paths with this woman at some point before. As the ritual ignites, she demands their price. His mission, tracking every lethal poison dealer, lurking within the capital's shadows. Stunned by his request, the girl begins the arcane rite, whispering about a legend she thought was long dead. She assumed that Master had stopped taking disciples, but intel isn't free. The cost is exactly 2 gold coins. Thinking fast, our hero pulls a pro-gamer move, telling his partner to foot the bill for the entire mission. Put it on the White Knight's tab, he quips. Too bad for him, this mystic shop demands cash up front. Total fail. To make matters worse, the ledger glows as permanent ink seals the deal on the enchanted parchment. He justifies the cost. Catching the culprit is the priority. Only 36 specialists in the capital can handle this herb. But time is ticking. The sheer toxicity of the substance means this tracking spell will burn out in mere minutes. Narrowing it down to the manager's circle, only 3 names remain: Capol, the Mage Wen, and his rival Baron. With the list finalized, the duo moves out. It's time to pay these suspects a visit and end this mystery. They storm the lab, kicking the door wide open. Inside, a long-haired scientist seethes at the sudden violent intrusion. What's the meaning of this? He snarls. Our hero flashes a silver crest, claiming authority from the White Knights. His partner nearly has a heart attack. He didn't even realize his badge had been swiped. We have intel that illegal concoctions are brewed here. Despite the suspect's frantic pleas of innocence, the room is getting a teardown. Dealing contraband is a top-tier felony here. One slip-up and you're looking at 10+ years behind iron bars. Tired of the lieutenant standing around like an NPC, our hero barks orders to start tossing the place immediately. They scour every shadow. Refining this poison requires a massive stash of troll digestive juice, a scent hard to mask. No spell can hide that stench. Suddenly, the scientist shifts nervously, clearly trying to block something from their sight. Suspicion's red line. The hero steps forward, demanding the man move aside and reveal what's behind his back right now. The bald accomplice scoffs, claiming the suspect is trapped in the city and bound for a cold prison cell. Don't sweat it, his buddy whispers. Master hooked us up with fresh identities. We're ghosts in this town. Whoosh. Our hero teleports behind him like a shadow. Before the man can even blink, his combat window closes. One devastating kick sends the goon airborne. Watching his partner get folded like laundry leaves, the other guy shook. The posh suspect trembles, his composure crumbling. Before he can run, magically reinforced ropes coil around him like pythons. Call me the Reaper of Ashes, the hero cold drops. His sharp eyes catch a glint of gold within the robes. He yanks out the hidden insignia. The moment he sees the carving, his blood runs cold with pure shock. That badge changes everything. Elsewhere, a mysterious figure gazes at the skyline from his throne, lost in dark thought. Scorpion mocks his anxiety, but he snaps back. He's stressed because he had to burn bridges to save her. Truth is, his sloppy mistakes left a trail. He stands declaring they need to go solo before they clash again. Desperate to save their bond, she asks what it would take to permanently delete every investigator on their tail. The solution: acquiring the blessing of the goddess. Her answer leaves her partner completely rattled by the sheer audacity. But there's a catch. Lupino swiped the artifact and vanished. Not a single soul has seen him or the relic. That's majorly bad news, she sighs. Still, she agrees to settle the massive debt her friend dumped on her. She ghosts him mid-shout, leaving him fuming. Meanwhile, the Reaper stakes out the grand estate of Marquis Voltini. Intel points to the Marquis as the puppet master who ordered the manager's downfall. It's time for some payback. The posh captive begs for mercy, whining that he was just a pawn. Fear reeks off him as he pleads. Our hero dons his mask cold and pitiless. Cry all you want. It's time to pay for your sins. Outside, the oblivious sentry stands guard. He doesn't see the shimmering magical dust drifting toward him until it's too late. The powder hits hard, dropping the guard instantly. The hero drags the body into the shadows, stealth mode fully engaged. Staying off the radar is key. He needs concrete proof that the Marquis is the brain behind this conspiracy. From the shadows, Scorpion scoffs. You think this fortress is an easy target. You're in way over your head. She corners her target, demanding to know his business. The boy grits his teeth, his frustration boiling over. He hadn't sensed a single soul before entering. "Aw, were you lonely? I wasn't expecting company today either," she teases. "Finders keepers," she chirps, claiming the territory. But her playful mood sours. This intruder is way too stubborn for her. Sensing a reckless clash might cost him, the masked figure retreats. Instead, he throws down a high-stakes challenge, a race to see who loots the most before the clock runs out. Little do they know their eyes are on the same prize. Realizing a direct race is futile, the girl flips the script. She suggests they each hunt for the other's specific target. Our protagonist weighs the risks in silence. Ultimately, he agrees 1 hour to settle the score fairly. Speed is everything. The first to secure the loot claims victory. Their eyes lock, burning with intense competitive fire. But there's a catch. If their paths cross for the same treasure, blood will definitely spill. Soaring through the night sky, he calculates his moves. He needs a massive haul from the city's far side to win. Back at the base, the lieutenant finally regains consciousness. Seeing the captain standing by his bedside is a total shock. A mysterious letter is fused to his chest by an unbreakable mana seal. Remarkably, it pulses with a potent anti-venom spell. After shielding the boy from harm, the captain demands the protagonist's whereabouts. Their conversation stretches deep into the night. He worries that the sleep-inducing gas was overkill. A PR nightmare awaits if the public learns a criminal slipped through. Their reputations are on the line. The boy wonders how they'll ever catch a ghost who uses sleep bombs. Still, the captain places his final bet on the boy. He decides to wait until sunset before making his move. Meanwhile, at the Marquis' estate, a sudden rustle puts the girl on alert. It's her rival back from the shadows. She smirks, asking if he secured his win. Luckily, he's holding the smoking gun needed to bury the culprit. It's time to tally the loot and crown a winner. With a flick, she tears open a shimmering pocket dimension. A rain of stolen treasures cascades from the rift, proving her haul is far superior to his. She boastfully asks if he recognizes any gear. Among the pile lies a legendary artifact capable of rewinding time itself. Not to be outdone, our hero summons his own rift and unleashes his collection. Surprisingly, he only brought papers. But these aren't just notes, they're blueprints to the continent's lost ancient riches. As they scan the intel, the trade is finalized. Stepping out into the night, our hero feels a surge of hope. Victory is finally within reach. With a playful laugh, the girl compliments his insane level of efficiency. He's the only one who's ever made a deal feel profitable. With that, she dissolves into a swirling cloud of sand. Later that evening, the captain is nearly jumped by two figures, suddenly appearing inside his private quarters. Stepping forward, the main character drops the real criminals at his feet. The proof is undeniable. He makes a break for the central station. Meanwhile, a family arrives in the capital, buzzing with pure excitement. Their leader is desperate to track down her runaway brother and drag him home before dawn. With the villains in custody, he leaves the cleanup to the knights. But red tape is a total buzzkill. Forced into lockup for a few days, boredom never stood a chance thanks to his crew's daily visits. They honestly exhausted him. Days later, the manager wakes up with a glow-up of pure, unadulterated joy. The reason for that smile becomes clear when the boy absolutely crushes his apprentice exam with a perfect score. It turns out his boss was hiding a secret side. With that, he heads off to the prestigious Civil Academy. Settling into his new desk, he spots a stack of papers. It's an official summons for the upcoming gathering. The call is for the Green Tower, an ancient stone bastion. After grinding in the districts, his real journey begins. It's time to dive into the mystic arts within the Magic Tower, the hub for every aspiring apprentice. This tower is a government powerhouse. Every bit of mana research on the continent is under the Empire's thumb. No secret spells here. The state decides which research is a breakthrough and which is a national threat. A bearded man walks up, checking in on his friend after the absolute chaos he's endured lately. It's a massive relief. The drama is dead, and he's finally free from the threat of a jail cell. The teacher reveals that 23 towers are competing this year. Even the heavy-hitting famous ones have thrown their hats in. With so many wild cards, the Magic Alliance is forcing a new way to pick their elite students. Forget grades. It's all about a random draw now. This is a total slap in the face for our genius lead. He's the top-tier student here, but he isn't sweating it. He knows exactly how to make his own luck. Using his secret clairvoyance, he peeks inside the box. He locks his sights on the prestigious Scarlet Tower. It's the capital's hub for insane inventions and high-level magic. Now it's his best friend's turn to roll the dice. He admits this very moment has haunted his dreams. Fast forward, and the three siblings finally close in on their destination. Their next stop looms ahead. Staring at the massive estate, the leader wonders if her uncle's mansion is overkill for one person. Losing his cool, the warrior charges toward the entrance, refusing to waste another second in this godforsaken city. In a classic klutz move, he absolutely wrecks the gate while trying to slide it open. Suddenly, a thunderous crash draws their attention. A surge of raw energy erupts before them, as soldiers swarm out surrounding our heroes. The captain's temper immediately hits its breaking point. He demands to know which punks dared to shatter their gate. Trembling, the boy reveals his lineage. He's from the legendary Crow tribe. He's just searching for his uncle. Amidst the chaos, he awkwardly explains that the door's destruction was nothing more than a clumsy accident. He was only trying to open it. Thankfully, the butler steps in, ordering everyone to disarm and de-escalating the lethal tension. Seems the message was so delayed that the city guards were never briefed. As darkness blankets the capital, the atmosphere shifts. Even at night, the capital is buzzing. Deep within a shadowed alley, a masked figure waits for a mysterious contact to arrive. The newcomer instantly realizes his stealth was useless. He's been spotted. Their true purpose in the capital remains shrouded in absolute mystery. Handing over a scroll, the muscular man grins, claiming that if this twisted experiment succeeds, his glory will be set in stone. They'll build monuments to his partner's genius. He's convinced these trials will trigger a rebirth, making him more powerful than ever before. Tossing the mask aside, he reveals his face and offers a chilling wish of luck for the journey ahead. Our journey shifts to the legendary Great Scarlet Tower. Here, the master welcomes the new recruits who manage to pass the entrance trials. It's only a 7-day crash course, but the knowledge they'll gain is priceless. His first crucial tip: every single choice they make matters. Refrain from touching the unknown within these chambers. Witnessing such carelessness, our protagonist's irritation begins to flare. Arriving 10 minutes behind schedule carries a steep price. He's earned himself a grueling session of after-class discipline. He blames personal errands for his first-day tardiness. However, the strict rule of absolute silence remains unbreakable here. As the penalties mount, he realizes his twisted nightmares were actually grim warnings about this cursed location. He hopes his strategy holds firm. Unfortunately, the odds of a disastrous run-in with his uncle are skyrocketing. Navigating the corridors, his goal is simple: fail every test. Staying at the bottom keeps him perfectly invisible. The tour pushes deeper into the spire, revealing the high-security vault housing the tower's legendary magical artifacts. Students flock here for their elite research. Suddenly, the mage's temper explodes as he spots a reckless apprentice, already meddling with forbidden gear. This man is a total tyrant, but that's exactly the authority this place demands. They enter the Chimera Sanctum, the tower's pride. In this laboratory, the very boundaries of life are tested. To unlock the secrets of time, behind reinforced bars, a genuine breathing chimera rests in a deep slumber. It hits him, this place is just a supernatural version of a past life zoo. Once the tour finally concludes, the instructor departs for a hidden chamber. With a sharp knock, he seeks the Great Master's permission to enter. He begs forgiveness for the interruption. The Tower Lord barely looks up, demanding the name of the Chimera's supervisor. Luckily, Edward is overseeing those experiments. However, the Elder fears the beast is evolving at a terrifyingly unnatural speed, outpacing their control. Hearing that no one is lifting a finger to stop it, his expression turns dangerously grim. He falls into a heavy silence. He admits he only summoned his old friend to ask a deeply personal favor. Pulling a manuscript from his private archives, he requests a secret mission to be carried out back in class. Our hero accidentally shatters a vital device, terrifying everyone. It's suspicious considering he never makes such amateur mistakes. He plays it off as a clumsy slip, but as class ends, he secretly slides a mysterious keycard into his pocket. One glance confirms it's stolen property. As night blankets the academy, the boy sets out on a forbidden mission. Hidden behind his mask, he hungers for the tower's secrets. Using the card, he breaches a high-security hidden chamber. His heart races at the sight of a legendary rune. This ancient power is unlike anything ever seen on the continent, and he must claim it. Suddenly, a strange sound echoes, forcing him to vanish into the shadows, completely stunned. He watches his teacher secretly moving the chimera under the moonlight. Later, he cautiously infiltrates the master's private study. Expecting to deliver the request, he's shocked to find the room vacant, save for a single pulsating magical rune. The Elder finally arrives to continue his twisted winged lion research. He begins deciphering an ancient scroll with intense focus, keeping his dark goals hidden. Suddenly, the rune's volatile energy begins to lash out, consuming the teacher's body. Horror strikes. He screams as his very flesh begins to warp and mutate into something monstrous and unrecognizable. The sorcerer laughs, thanking him for being the perfect human guinea pig. Simultaneously, the chimera undergoes its own evolution, allowing the villain to grow even more cunning. As the chaotic transformation reaches its peak, the masked hero suddenly intervenes with a brutal kick. In this moment, the dark truth is finally exposed, revealing the girl had been tailing the teacher all along. She perches outside the window, watching the ritual unfold. Sensing something foul within the master's quarters, she analyzes the glowing, jagged diagram etched into the stone floor. It's a forbidden dark hex. Having seen enough of this depravity, she leaps into the fray, ready for war. But taking down this elder won't be easy. The old man reels back, shocked by the masked intruder's sudden arrival. As his grand plan crumbles, stepping forward, the hero demands to know what blasphemy the master is performing. Looking at the carnage, he wonders why a fellow teacher had to be sacrificed for such demonic experiments. Dark energy erupts from the scroll, distorting the room. The chimera awakens, its eyes burning with pure demonic rage. Thirsting for battle, suddenly a massive explosion rocks the tower's peak, sending debris flying through a thick smokescreen. Disoriented, the boy senses a murderous presence behind him. By a literal hair's breadth, he dodges a lethal ambush. Barely clinging to life, a skeletal nightmare stands before him, declaring that the time for divine judgment has come. Our hero jokes that it's the skeleton who needs a god-tier beating. The monster doesn't wait another second, unleashing a devastating magical blast. Dodging the impact, the boy summons a staff and retaliates with a massive fireball. This enemy is high tier, swatting the flames away with a single punch. The real battle has just begun. Mana-infused spells tear the room apart as stone shatters. Cackling, the creature stands stunned by such overwhelming power. Even with his failed transformation, he unleashes a devastating hex, screaming praises to his twisted master. A massive explosion rocks the tower, catching the boy off guard and obliterating everything in its path. Vaulting into the sky, our hero realizes this foe is a total beast. Suddenly, a glowing sphere of death appears. Scared already, the monster sneers. The blast connects, sending the boy reeling toward a brutal defeat. High above, the skeletal horror vows to incinerate the world before raining down a torrent of hellfire. He throws up a mana shield, barely tanking the fiery onslaught. This stubborn resistance absolutely tilts the beast, who expected an easy win. The monster lunges to finish it, but the hero is already charging a devastating mana fist. A heavy strike shatters the skeleton's jaw. Seizing the opening, he triggers his demonic bullet magic. He goes full machine gun mode, but a dark barrier deflects every single shot with ease. The barrier is strong, but cracks are finally forming. His time is running out as the pressure mounts. Boom! His energy bottoms out, and he plummets. By a miracle, he crashes back into the tower's ruins. Buried in rubble, he survives the fall. Then a glass shard catches his reflection, and he freezes. Terror takes hold. The experiment was a total disaster. "Why do I look like this?" he gasps in shock. The boy scoffs, mocking him for missing the obvious. "Time's up, loser," he says, ready to end it. He unleashes a final move, detonating a massive wave of blue energy that engulfs the entire Scarlet Tower. He had sacrificed everything for forbidden knowledge, and a shot at a better life fueled by obsession. He wanted to shed his decaying flesh for immortality, but as he crumbles, he realizes he was already dead. His soul had perished long ago. Now the battlefield itself moans as the tower starts to collapse. Panic spreads among the students as the tower disintegrates. Emerging from the dust, the hero finally returns. Guilt gnaws at him for the destruction he unleashed. Meanwhile, the royal family convenes at the imperial palace. She's definitely lost in this maze of paths. Still, this is the only way for those seeking the secret meeting. Despite their elite status, not a single top-tier hunter could find any trace of the protagonist in the city. Frustrated and on edge, the man vows to track him down once their joint operation kicks off. The minister enters, complaining about the uncle's loudmouth. Then the shocking news hits the room. Someone leveled the Great Magic Tower overnight. Shaken by the report, the scene shifts to the Emperor's chambers. The Emperor welcomes the group. Trembling, the boy stammers that meeting His Majesty is the ultimate blessing. The uncle just shrugs, dropping the formalities and plopping down into a chair without a care in the world. Now that everyone's here, it's time to address the elephant in the room, our hero's mysterious disappearance. He presents Den's portrait to the Emperor, who's skeptical. "This kid, he looks way too young to be your nephew." The warrior scoffs at the drawing. "This is trash. It looks absolutely nothing like my brother." It's pure comedy as the uncle reveals his masterpiece, swearing it's a perfect likeness. It's hideous. Bizarrely, the whole family agrees that the ugly sketch is a dead ringer for the protagonist. Stunned by their terrible taste, the Emperor seriously considers rescheduling the entire meeting for another day. A massive crowd watches the Scarlet Tower's ruins smolder. Hidden among them, the buff stranger watches in silence. Still shrouded in mystery, he walks away, muttering "idiot" under his breath as the reconstruction begins. Blasts rip through the forest. A girl dances around a colossal rhino, using her insane speed to evade its tusks. She vaults high into the air, coming down with a surgical strike that leaves the beast howling in pain. With a flash of steel, she shears off its horn to neutralize the threat. But the battle isn't over yet. The beast lunges in a desperate counter. She barely pivots, landing a killing blow just in time to survive. The threat is neutralized easily. An old woman hobbles over, asking if the girl is finally done hunting. The elder sighs, complaining that the valuable hide is completely shredded. The girl can only offer a shy apology. "I still have a long way to go," she admits. The old woman mentions the upcoming New Year festival. "Fun is just as vital as fighting," the elder says. To her, the festival outweighs any monster hunt. Our hero feels a sudden chill, wondering if people are gossiping about him. Then the duo parts ways. Breaking all precedent, the higher-ups have converged at the heart of the department's central council. Fate dealt a cruel hand, forcing his studies at Escalate Tower to a sudden, perilous halt. Luckily, his marks were top tier, allowing him to escape the danger zone just in time. This very spot serves as his final trial as an apprentice, the grand stage for national spectacles. It's the hub for VIP delegations, but our hero stayed focused on his grueling training. With the year-end tournament looming, he intentionally fumbles some crates to play the clumsy fool. He's tanking his own reputation to catch a penalty, while the blonde prince sits regally in his carriage. His aide notices his dark expression and asks what's wrong. At last, the grueling trek ends. He reaches the gate, greeted by a sea of people bowing in absolute awe of his status. He's arrived at the continent's great temple. Sensing the tension, his butler offers a ceremonial staff. This staff isn't just wood, it's a badge of nobility essential for today's high-stakes ceremony. An elder welcomes the prince, but then catches him off guard by requesting a private audience. Meet Fernando, a notorious extremist, whose sect harbors a deep ancient grudge against the royals. The empire crushed the church's glory, but Fernando hides his burning malice behind a perfect mask. The prince is only here for the New Year festival, the year's most prestigious and vital celebration. It's a calculated move for peace, yet the boy wonders if Fernando will even hear him out. Back in the garden, two warriors clash relentlessly. One notices his partner's strength has reached a new level. He parries the remark, claiming they've both improved before both warriors launch a simultaneous strike. Mana explodes in a vibrant display as the warrior pours every ounce of power into his blade. One devastating swing shatters the opposing steel, sending the broken blade spinning into the distance. Witnessing his partner's sudden surge in power, our hero arrives baffled by the intense sparring session. Turns out these two are also eyeing a spot in the upcoming martial arts tournament. Alfonso is fired up for victory, while the others wonder just how lethal the main character truly is. Faking exhaustion, he slips away into the house. Meanwhile, the minister is fuming inside the castle walls. Their plan to secure the saint failed. Back in the capital, she was seen with red-eyed strangers. These mysterious figures are linked to her, and the prince might need to arrange a meeting. As they plan their next move, the family gathers to prepare for the coming storm. A comatose man sits motionless until a nurse's frantic cry for Vibrio shatters the silence. Tears stream down her face as she laments the time lost, drowning in guilt for her absence. She failed him when he needed her most. Elsewhere, ritualists gather in the shadows for a secret conclave. A pair of them grumble annoyed that such a small group was summoned for this meeting. They don't even know who the mastermind is, but his comrade snaps back that he's the messenger. The elder blames his fading memory for the lapse. Finally, they discuss the Crow tribe's dangerous movements. They're trespassing in monster-infested lands, and one man growls that their thirst for blood has finally crossed the line. He storms out with a terrifying warning, call him for another pointless meeting, and heads will roll. He promises total annihilation. By sunrise, the prince is already searching for an audience with the saint. The warrior promises a quick introduction, leaving the blonde prince to his own deep reflections. It's going surprisingly smooth. His butler checks if he should prep the carriage for the trek ahead. Preferring the city air, the prince suggests a calming cup of tea to settle their nerves. He feels the heavy weight of his guard's suspicious gaze while observing our hero and his companion. They're discussing the festival, and the man grumbles that they hired the wrong mercenary guild for this. The prince pegs them as mere civil servants, noting that the holiday rush is hitting everyone hard. Chaos erupts in the capital as the nurse screams for Vibrio, who has vanished into thin air. The warrior begs the saint to stay hidden, but her desperation is reaching a breaking point. She demands they fan out immediately, her heart racing as she searches the winding city streets. She spots two thugs hunting for trouble. One fakes a broken shoulder, aggressively barking for an apology. It is a total lie, and she knows it. The goon closes in, trying to shake her down. He accuses her friend of lying, demanding medical fees for his staged injury. He wants cash, but this girl is a saint, literally. She does not carry a single cent. The bald creep offers a different way to pay. Right then, our hero steps in. He calls the bluff that shoulder is fine. In response, the thug flashes a hidden blade. He drops a rare gold coin into the thief's palm to avoid a scene and his powers. The bald thug stands there dazed as our hero tells everyone to move along. He checks if she is all right. They share a weird look before continuing their conversation. Vibrio stands frozen, staring deep into the woods. Suddenly, a shady figure creeps up on her. She jumps, totally caught off guard. The stranger acts polite, introducing himself as Libra. He tests her, asking if his name rings a bell. Sadly, she has got nothing. She questions the masked man's motives. He is just there to drop a warning, abandon the temple. Alone, she is powerless. Meanwhile, back in town, our lead asks his friend if they are okay. He spots the folder and assumes he is a government worker. Panicked, the MC denies it. He is just a trainee. Suddenly, a warrior rushes in. They found the legendary paladin Vibrio. That makes zero sense, he already crushed her. Turns out she just went for a stroll. She plays it cool when he apologizes, but wait, where did our protagonist go? The warrior watches him vanish into thin air, leaving the girl feeling totally abandoned. She regrets not asking for his name, but he knows getting involved is just asking for trouble. He just wants a boring desk job. Then bombshell, the prince demands an audience with the saint. He is desperate, but the family is strictly forbidden from touching imperial politics. Talk about a mess. Worse yet, the knight already mailed a warning letter to her. That letter is game over. Once she sees it, the castle invite is inevitable. Suddenly, the door swings open. She asks if she is late, scaring the siblings half to death. The streets are packed for New Year celebrations. A massive VIP prepares to address the buzzing crowd. The saint emerges crowned and ready to bless the masses. Nearby, a blonde guy watches hyped. But villains are lurking in the shadows plotting. Their main goal, shutting Libra down for good. Turns out the saint is the target. This festival, it is the perfect time to strike. They have to stop him. The girl is the key to their entire master plan. If the saint falls, another dies too. A literal army is ready to die for her. The capital stadium is electric. In the arena, warriors clash in a blur of high-speed steel. It is a total war. Lee is dancing around, attacks her training, making every counter move look easy. She slips one last strike, delivering a brutal knockout blow to secure the victory. His family is losing it with joy. He is officially moving on to the next bracket. Huge prizes await. Alice screams that the winnings are funding the ultimate birthday bash. Alfonso drops a reality check. The next opponent is elite. Backstage, the praise keeps coming. A redhead jokes about the humble opposition. But make no mistake, this girl is the favorite. Meet Rose, a descendant of the legendary Blood Warriors. The girls have zero clue who she is. Total silence. Big Sis asks why our guy is not warming up with the other fighters. He nervously confesses he got busted for magic and took a disqualification in the qualifiers. She loses it, roasting her brother with every insult imaginable until the room goes cold. The next match is called. In one corner stands the rising rookie Lisbon. His opponent last year reigning champ, the powerhouse Rose of the Blood Warriors. The stadium erupts as they take the stage for the ultimate showdown of the day. Noticing her rival's visible tremors, the girl offers a smirk, telling him to relax. She suggests he treat this deadly clash like a simple playground game. Chuckling nervously, the boy admits that having fun is currently impossible. Hearing his doubt, she decides she will just have to entertain herself instead. She finally stops holding back. With a savage swing of her axe, she obliterates the ground, sending jagged stone shards exploding across the arena. She is genuinely stunned to find her opponent still standing after that tectonic blast. Grinning, she admits his survival skills are top tier. Up in the bleachers, their friends watch the carnage with wide eyes, especially the redhead who is spiraling with fear for her brother's life. The duel intensifies into a relentless blur of steel, leaving the warrior visibly struggling. Casually, the girl remarks that he is actually holding his own. For a fresh rookie, his performance is impressive. Ready to wrap this up, she unleashes a heavy strike that nearly shatters his desperate guard. The sheer force blasts him backward, skidding across the dirt. Without a moment's mercy, she lunges again, determined to end this fight instantly. Luckily, the knight's grueling training kicks in, allowing him to narrowly evade the lethal blow. This irritates the girl, and the games officially end. She enters a state of absolute focus. The boy mirrors her intensity, pouring every ounce of concentration into dodging and looking for a counter. Seizing a split-second opening, he lunges and connects with a perfect strike. The girl gasps, shocked that he actually landed a clean hit on her face. On the far side of the crater, the boy stands trembling and exhausted. Visibly annoyed, she demands to know his name with a chilling, mysterious tone. Upon hearing it, she offers a rare compliment on his gritty style. Igniting her scarlet mana, she vows to etch his name into her memory. The sight of her surging power sends his heart racing, but he refuses to back down. He charges forward, desperate to claim a miracle victory. His soul is set on becoming the festival's champion. Meanwhile, his opponent remains eerily calm, knowing one more strike will end his journey. Their eyes lock as the dance of blades continues without pause. Suddenly, the boy's sword is whipped away, leaving him completely defenseless and exposed. Seeing him unarmed, the girl pauses to ask if he is ready to throw in the towel. To her, the victor is already set in stone. With no options left, the warrior gracefully concedes the match. Relieved the battle is over, she smiles, calling it a legendary round despite the chaos. They exchange a respectful handshake as the crowd erupts in cheers for the spectacle. Nearby, the announcer prepares to call the next high-stakes round. From the shadows, a masked figure tracks every move. The ultimate winner is destined to be honored by the great saint during the grand finale. The girl gives the warrior one last nod of respect. Meanwhile, the mysterious man lingers in the crowd, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Executing his dark plan, a sudden bolt of destructive energy screams toward the VIP stages. Acting on instinct, the redhead moves to shield the saint. Pure chaos erupts as the crowd scrambles to protect the holy woman. The masked mastermind watches through the smoke, but Rose's power is no joke. She successfully nullifies every incoming projectile, sending the old man into a fit of rage. Watching his master plan crumble leaves him seething. Just as our hero finishes his temple paperwork, an earth-shaking boom signals a violent end to the current round. Panic floods the arena as the saint's life hangs in the balance. While the masses flee, the old sorcerer continues to channel a terrifying amount of mana. Thrusting his staff down, he summons a massive quagmire of mud. This dark ritual ignites a ghostly blue fire that surges into his own body. Someone in the fleeing crowd spots the man and freezes in terror. From the eerie azure flames, a nightmare army of spirits begins to manifest. A brave soldier leaps into the fray, swinging at the masked invaders. He bellows a desperate command for everyone to guard the saint at all costs. The royal guards charge in for a suicidal clash. Unfortunately, the spectral spirits possess monstrous strength and begin tearing through the ranks. Clearing a path with a single strike, the villain approaches the saint, feigning a rescue. Suddenly, a massive explosion of energy rocks the entire area. The blast vaporizes the girl's remaining guard. As the intense heat melts the surroundings, Libra steps forward, declaring that his long wait is finally over. He has dreamed of this dark day for his entire life. Shaking with fury, the captain lunges forward, demanding to know how he dares commit such sacrilege. With a casual flick, Libra swats the young man away like a fly. The cursed blue flames immediately begin eating away at the captain's flesh. Feeling completely trapped, the girl watches in horror as the monster draws near. He coldly orders her to follow him quietly if she values her life. He warns that her survival depends on her obedience. Suddenly, Elise jumps into the line of fire, playfully retorting that she was about to say the same. The enemy reacts instantly, conjuring a shimmering magic shield that absorbs her strike and blasts the girl backward. He mocks her, stating that such pathetic tricks won't work on a master mage. Rose is staggered, never expecting to face someone with such overwhelming power. Fear finally takes hold, as she narrowly dives away from a lethal explosion. Libra looms closer, repeating that his lifelong ambition is finally within reach. The captain roars in anger, charging again despite the odds. Once more, Libra effortlessly crushes him, sending the young warrior flying into the dirt. Cursed azure flames begin to consume the captain's body. Paralyzed by her own helplessness, the girl cowers as the shadow of her enemy falls over her. He gives her one final chance to surrender in secret and stay alive. Bravely, Elise intervenes again, tossing his own words back at him with a grin. The villain's magic shield flares to life, neutralizing her offensive and sending the girl tumbling across the stone floor. He sneers that her minor spells are useless against a true sorcerer. Rose is left reeling, completely blindsided by the massive gap in their strength. Terror fills her soul as she barely evades another fiery blast. Reality hits her hard. This enemy is on a completely different level than anyone she's ever faced. She lunges forward, slamming her signature strike into the earth and detonating the arena into a cloud of jagged debris. Blurring behind him, she hunts for a lethal opening, but the mage's lightning reflexes allow him to narrowly evade her strike. Vaulting backward to create space, Libra seizes the opening and unleashes a torrent of arcane power directly at the girl. Exhaustion weighs her down, making escape impossible. Libra watches from a distance as a massive explosion consumes the entire battlefield. Smelling victory, he's suddenly jolted by a terrifying sight. The warrior's heavy axe is hurtling straight for his skull. Mid-explosion, she winds up a devastating punch, the sheer force shattering the masked man's visor into 1,000 pieces. Fuming, he conjures a sphere of azure energy, vowing to end her, but suddenly halts the lethal incantation mid-cast. He gazes upward in disbelief as the heavens fill with hundreds of fluttering white doves, living symbols of pure peace. They descend with blinding velocity, baffling even the spirits as the birds skim the ground in a synchronized low-altitude sweep. These divine birds tear through the masked cultists, their hidden power absolutely decimating the enemy ranks in seconds. As the cultists are ripped to shreds, Libra realizes he has been left completely stranded without any reinforcements. Standing solo on the field, the hero closes in, declaring that this duel will finally be a fair one-on-one showdown. From behind his mask, he demands a sit-rep. This chaotic clash is clearly spiraling into something far more dangerous than expected. The hero's blood boils as he steps up his icy resolve, making the masked man realize this kid lacks any fear. Correcting divine blunders is terrifying far beyond the fear of death. Enraged, the villain retaliates with a searing energy beam. "How dare you speak to me like that?" the villain snarls, but the hero advances, his shield absorbing every impact. Weaving more complex spells, he scoffs. "Do you honestly believe these pathetic parlor tricks can halt my progress?" He then erupts with a massive wave of inferno fire, targeting the boy whose legendary strength is put to the test. He grunts under the crushing force of the blast. As the smoke dissipates, the hero emerges bruised but very much alive. Shocked, he finds the arena deserted. His foe has vanished. Suddenly, a malevolent spirit manifests from the shadows. The creature lunges for the kill, but our veteran warrior slides past, ending the fight with one decisive lethal counterstrike. Yet the onslaught never ends. Amidst the high-speed chaos, the hero overhears the dark commands driving these monsters forward. Their mission, to slaughter the living and drown the entire world in pure, unadulterated hatred. Libra commands his beasts to shred the hero. Growing annoyed, he starts channeling a final massive technique to end this nuisance. Channeling significant mana, he summons a vast army of magical doves, flooding the horizon with thousands of white wings. Their directive is clear: purge every single spirit just like before. Once more, the celestial birds descend for the hunt. They weave through the masked horde, obliterating anything in their path. Within seconds, the overwhelming swarm of monsters begins to crumble. They drop like rotting sludge, defeated, or so it seems. To everyone's horror, the fallen creatures slowly begin to stand again. Libra mocks them, claiming such low-tier magic can't stop his devotees. A fresh wave of monstrosities surges toward our hero. He frantically evades, narrowly avoiding a trip to the afterlife. Suddenly, a blinding flash of holy light pierces the chaos. This divine radiance ripples outward, purging the entire arena of every foul curse and lingering trace of dark energy. The saint herself is in the trenches, fighting tooth and nail for survival. She refuses to break, but then disaster strikes. A surviving spirit lunges from her blind spot for a surprise kill. Fortunately, the blood warrior leaps in, shielding her friend. With a clinical strike, she downs the beast. "Are you hurt?" she asks, but the saint remains silent, eyes burning with focus. Her only goal now is total annihilation. Channeling celestial power, she proclaims she's acting on a direct divine mandate today. Judgment is dealt. Beams of holy light vaporize the cursed instantly. Meanwhile, lurking deep within the arena stands, Libra watches. He seethes as his minions are dismantled once more. Unlucky for him, the hero already tracked his scent and is closing in. No words are exchanged, the hero's fist connects squarely with the villain's jaw. Moments later, the mastermind is bound in heavy chains. Trapped and desperate, he shrieks in confusion, hurling insults and demanding to know the hero's identity. But the boy remains silent. Exhausted, the hero sighs at the terrible timing. Suddenly, the rhythmic clanking of armor signals that soldiers are encircling him. He stares down their drawn blades in confusion. "Silence, Lupino," a soldier barks. "You're under arrest for assaulting the Holy Church." They accuse him of wounding Bishop Fernando and defeating the legendary paladin Mario. The boy's mind reels in utter shock. He has no idea who these people even are. Tensions skyrocket as the commanding officer steps forward with a cold glare. "Playing dumb won't save you now," the man sneers. Suddenly, a memory flashes back. A brutal clash from weeks ago resurfaces. It was that masked assassin who targeted the princess. Amidst the chaos, the saint cries out, demanding the hero's immediate release. Since he's her savior, Lupino seizes the moment, calling out her cold behavior as downright disrespectful. He vents about being treated like a criminal by the crowd, but the girl remains absolutely heartless. She coldly warns that this mercy is a one-time deal. Next time she'll personally ensure he rots behind bars. Shaken, he bids everyone a quick farewell, and bolts only to notice Libra's chains are mysteriously empty. The elusive prisoner vanished into thin air, returning to his secret sanctuary of pure, undisturbed silence. The elder approaches with a shattered mask. Fast forward to the next morning, our hero is finally out cold. He's savoring the sweet taste of tranquility after battling his way into the capital's civil service. This was supposed to be his first peaceful day off, following that exhausting festival grind. But then, the fiery redhead ruins the vibe, demanding he get up immediately to go play tourist across the city. The boy is totally fuming at the suggestion, yet he somehow finds himself unable to say no. Now he's stuck playing pack mule for her massive shopping spree, while the girls obsess over shiny jewelry. He's only hauling these bags because the girl's inventory magic is maxed out. Talk about bad luck, right? He regrets not being firmer earlier. Suddenly, a familiar face spots Den in the middle of the crowd. It's his bald comrade, curious why the main character is wandering the market during his time off. A small child tugs at his sleeve, leaving him baffled. He wonders if his friend became a dad. Turns out she's just his younger half-sister, Aram. The two share the same father but live very different lives. They grew up together in an orphanage, and now she meticulously looks after the bald man's mentor. He kneels to greet the little girl, but she stays silent. Apparently she hasn't spoken a single word. Even so, she's sharp and understands everything. She grabs Den's hand and starts tracing cryptic signs on his palm. Her message is loud and clear: stop being annoying. Then the bearded man offers them some tea. He calls their meeting fate, but the redhead isn't having it. She's here for a wardrobe upgrade. She refuses to be sidetracked by small talk. Just then, the powerhouse warrior Escalachi steps into view. Our protagonist is stunned. She approaches and actually thanks him for putting up with that bald idiot. Finally, she introduces herself properly. You can call her Rose, and she's definitely not someone to mess with. Under the cover of night, the ministers debate which lucky apprentices will join the capital's elite ranks. The standard is high, only the top scorers get a shot. But a certain red-haired man interrupts the process. Meet Glant, the legendary head of the Adventurers Alliance, a man who commands respect across the entire continent. He drops the files on the table with dramatic flair, keeping the tension high before revealing the names. The verdict is in Den, and his buddy made the cut. However, some officials aren't thrilled with the choice. Glant knows they have reservations, but he's sticking to his guns. Naturally, the minister demands a solid explanation. Glant's friend admits he's never asked for a favor before, but he's practically begging for this one win. The sheer intensity in his voice makes the high-ranking minister visibly sweat. This is getting serious. Deep inside the imperial palace, Major Orpina is summoned. The emperor isn't happy about the recent monster chaos. She stands her ground, claiming the battle was a total cakewalk, thanks to her soldiers' perfect strategy and strength. The young lady starts bickering with her uncle over nothing. Luckily, the blonde man cuts the drama short. He wants the meeting to start now. Meanwhile, our hero is finally living his dream as a civil servant. After a brief break, his fate was sealed. He's officially been assigned to the capital's Adventurers Alliance branch. Just as he's soaking in the start of his legendary new life, a familiar voice shatters the silence. The bald guy was waiting for him. Seriously, does this guy just spawn wherever our main character goes? Den wonders if he'll ever get some alone time. They enter the office, only to find the place deserted. A young guy approaches, explaining that the senior officers already left. Time for some quick introductions. The boy introduces himself, and the gentleman Demore. Demore's eyes light up the second he hears Den's name. He's thrilled to finally meet the kid. It turns out his own mother has been talking about him non-stop. She works as a caretaker for high-end mansions, which finally rings a bell for our confused protagonist. Suddenly, the manager whispers in his ear, asking if they're the fresh recruits. He's hyped to have them on board. He introduces himself as Fabiano, telling them to sit. He'll be the one drilling them through this training. This room is for registering new adventurers. On the other floors, seasoned travelers stay for long-term missions. High-ranking silver warriors occupy the middle levels, while the fourth floor is reserved for the capital's elite knights. Usually, these legends are away on dangerous missions, so they rarely spend time at the guild headquarters. Finally, the fifth floor houses the guildmaster's private office and the main reception area for high-stakes business. After climbing several flights, they feel the air change. The entire top floor is sealed by powerful magic. A girl mentions the chief is late and offers the recruits some home-cooked food. Suddenly, the bald man freezes. He's shocked to see his sister there. Like typical siblings, they immediately start roasting each other over nothing. From a distance, the MC watches the young woman, sensing a terrifying magical aura radiating from her presence. The energy is insane. Fabiano grows suspicious, knowing Rose is an only child with no siblings at all. Sensing the tension, he leaves to fetch the guildmaster for their official introduction to the big boss. The girl anxiously asks if her sister is safe. Confused, the MC questions if they are actually related. She reveals they aren't siblings, just close childhood friends. Annoyed, the young woman lets out a sharp huff. She snaps that she'd never be friends with an old-looking guy. Funnily enough, this young-looking girl is actually older. She is 7 years older but looks like a teen. They start bickering, nearly throwing hands over nothing. Suddenly, the chief appears, loving the recruit's chaotic energy. Startled, the main character finally realizes the truth. He spots the source of that insane pressure. To make matters worse, Escalade screams that the man is her father. Annoyed, she decks her partner, calling him a hideous old fossil. She acts like everything is totally normal, though. The man claims he is just happy they are safe. This shocks our hero, whose blood freezes at his boss's power. Back in the meeting, the question rises, do they really need intel on the monsters haunting this specific territory? Because of the Crow Tribe chief's move, the family is stuck in the capital. This leaves the uncle completely blindsided. He had zero clue his brother was also in town. The girl claims 2 of her elite officers know dragons. They know the red dragons. Curious, the prince asks why they actually abandoned the legendary Olympus forest in secret. This means a young girl is currently leading the massive Crow Tribe right now. He grills the hunter on why he left. Sadly, he is silent, treated like a total outcast since his departure. Those words sting. The 2 boys definitely didn't expect that kind of cold reception back here in the city. The boy asks if the guildmaster is a joke. Fabiano corrects him. The man leads the entire alliance, not just guilds. The duo is bored by the politics. Damar explains his role in accounting, managing the department's gold, and various funds. He supports the whole team's budget. Fiona handles the front desk, managing all guests and high-level communications. Mo Xiao handles logistics and passing adventurers. Suddenly, a mustached man appears, jump-scaring everyone with a loud greeting. He introduces himself as Rosa Rain. It turns out he has been here the whole time, acting as the manager. He balances the heavy workload. Then he reinforces a point: if anything goes wrong, he will take full responsibility. He tells everyone to report their problems. The guy with glasses starts explaining his own main task. He organizes requests based on the adventurer's fame and how dangerous the actual mission is expected to be. The 2 friends introduce themselves to the room, explaining their mysterious origins and background. Mustache Man asks the bald guy's age. He admits he is only 17, which shocks the entire room. At last, they're ordered back to their stations. A tactical map flickers to life, tracking monster density across the realm. Updated every 6 months, and categorized by zone. Milpia drops the hammer. These creatures are invading the capital's doorstep. She points to the grim infection rates ravaging the nearby territories. Worst of all, a Blade family warrior is on the move. Dark intel from the Empire leaks. News about the legend Doomstone. Witnesses saw a master mage and other powerhouses following his lead. The mere fact he left the forest has nations fearing a total world war, so they're locking this info down. Big Mama's play is to scout the monster-infested wasteland. The girl is left reeling, wondering when this dangerous mission officially kicks off. Back at civil service, our hero is just grinding through paperwork and managing boring supplies. One of these two is likely stuck at the front desk. She drops a bombshell, the manager is moving up, and a fresh officer is stepping in. Plus, those chaotic emergency meetings happen twice every month. They usually hire veteran adventurers for security. Come nightfall, legendary protective barriers seal the entire perimeter, so intruders do not stand a chance. However, she fears one legendary phantom thief might actually breach them, Lupin. Sweating, the boy plays dumb, asking why a criminal would target this place. Then the girl hits him with a curveball. Is the boss Rose's father? He confirms it, but she is already diving into another juicy rumor before getting cut off. Disaster strikes as two co-workers panic. Meanwhile, the protagonist's uncle is in a room overflowing with plushies waiting on his VIP buddy, the head of the Alliance. Bored out of his mind, the hunter roasts his friend for being fashionably late. He hands over a souvenir from Arcanta, a reward for clearing that massive festival disaster. He bolts immediately, leaving the redhead completely stunned since they did not even exchange a word. Finally, some tea arrives to soothe the guy's nerves. But while taking a sip, he demands to know why the spirit is still stalking him. Silence follows as the entity just stares. Creeping closer, he vents about the shop's creepy vibes and suggests they ditch the place. These old friends catch up, but the conversation quickly shifts to Miss Rose's recent exploits. She didn't just crush those bandits. She smashed her promotion goals and ascended to the elite gold rank. The main character is shaken. This feat is unheard of in the capital. From afar, he watches from the sidelines as the girl's gossip turns into pure, unadulterated fangirling. He debates shutting her down because she is obsessing over the Scarlet Warrior way too hard. Fabian shrugs it off, but our protagonist is losing his mind listening to Fiona's endless yapping. It is so annoying he feels like his ears might actually explode. The woman in front of him is a total Scarlet Warrior fan who knows every single detail of her life. To escape, he claims Fran is Rose's childhood bestie. Fiona zooms off instantly, and a coworker praises his genius move. Apparently, mentioning Miss Scarlet's name is practically a forbidden taboo in this office. Once Fiona starts, she will not stop until dawn. However, our clever protagonist knows a secret trick to silence her. He just needs to infiltrate Rose's private quarters. If Fiona confronts the lady herself, she will freeze up. See, the warrior absolutely hates people talking about her legend to her face. Finally, our hero heads out seeking some peace. He is shocked to find the room totally deserted, when suddenly, he senses movement in the master suite. Suspecting a break-in, he decides to investigate. Instead, he finds the fierce warrior cuddling a teddy bear. He playfully asks if this angel is enjoying her new rank. The vibe turns awkward fast when she spots him. Watching from afar, turning bright red, the girl stammers that this is not what it looks like. He tries to bail, claiming he saw nothing, and telling her to keep chatting with her bear. His cold reaction triggers her rage. She was not about to let this humiliation slide. Suddenly, she throws a devastating punch, but he barely dodges. Flexing her power, she demands they settle this. Inside the building, she claims he already knows where this conversation is heading. Since he is a student, she flexes how her father ended the war between the Empire and dragons. By traveling through the forbidden Mephisto Valley, she continues her flex, describing how he founded the legendary Black Buffalo Squad and crushed enemy regimes. They are the capital's elite, slaying monsters and saving lives under his heroic leadership. But now he is just a legendary doll maker, a fact that makes our hero cringe. It feels like a boring history lecture all over again. Wrapping up, she mentions her tournament victory and how she successfully rescued the saint before finally ending her massive rant. Our hero realizes the Alliance's loud praise for the girl's skills is actually making her cringe hard. Thinking back to her wild celebration in the room, he finally gets the hype behind her hidden excitement. Trapped in her room and desperate to save face, she begs him to keep his lips sealed forever. But silence comes at a price. The protagonist demands a favor, catching his buddy totally off guard. As the night winds down, shock hits her when she realizes Fiona already knows her entire backstory. The bearded guy confesses his sister stepped in because she was obsessed with hearing those tales 24/7. With an air of mystery, she claims she's only here for her brother's company. Then Fabian suddenly appears. He slams the rookie initiation tradition as total trash, sparking a heated shouting match between the two. The eavesdropping duo is stunned. Once their shift ends, the trio hype themselves up for a secret destination. She tells them to gear up. They're hitting an elite city casino, packed with gourmet food and luxury. Live music blares for the high rollers, but our duo feels totally out of place in this gambling den. Seeing them freeze like NPCs with bags of loot, she wonders why they're acting so clueless in the lobby. She tosses them each a heavy purse, ordering them to blow every single coin on the casino floor. Rose ditches the bald guy to stick with the main character as they approach a high-stakes masked table. She confesses it's been ages since she touched a deck of cards before finally taking her seat. A mysterious woman tracks their every move, then reveals her face ecstatic to reunite with an old friend. She suggests they play together. Turns out this casino-hopping high roller is actually the legendary saint herself. She admits these moments of freedom are rare and must stay deep in the shadows, away from prying eyes. Spotting, the main character leaves her breathless, triggering vivid memories of the day he saved her life. Our fiery redhead is shocked to find out her buddy has a secret history with the saint. The dealer calls for bets as the high-stakes poker game kicks off, cards flying across the velvet table. The protagonist is just here for the vibes, but everything changes the second he grips his starting hand. Peeking at his ace, he calculates that the girl across from him must be holding some serious heat. If the saint's luck holds, she'll sweep the pot effortlessly, leaving Rose with a literal hand of trash. Rose is totally cooked, but our hero's insane kinetic vision lets him cheat without using a drop of mana. To keep his overpowered levels hidden, he decides to throw a few rounds and start off playing nice. Minutes later, the hero is sitting on a mountain of chips, prompting a playful jab from the saint. She teases him for draining the table, while the redhead feels a sting of envy over his win streak. Her luck was absolute zero, so the hero graciously pays back the starting capital he was originally lent. To ensure her silence, he tips a massive bonus, leaving the girl in tears over her newfound fortune. Escalate bellows for the next round to begin, while our hero steps away to grab a quick snack. Suddenly, the saint checks the time she's got to jet before the church realizes their holy girl is missing. She beams, promising to escape for another adventure with her friend the next time she gets a break. As she disappears, he muses about the sheer insanity of crossing paths with her in a gambling den. Overhearing bits of the chat, the redhead narrows her eyes, questioning why our guy is acting so suspicious. They suddenly notice the bald guy has vanished, but the girl already knows exactly where her brother crawled off. She admits that was their actual destination all along as a guard gives Rose a knowing salute. After a quick catch-up, the guard whispers a rumor about a rising star, a boy with terrifyingly high potential. Our hero is beyond drained, praying for a pillow and a long nap after this chaotic day. This hidden section gives off a dark vibe. It's definitely not your average shiny high-stakes casino floor. Dropping the act, the warrior reveals that this gritty basement was her true goal from the very start. Blaring sirens and frantic roars erupt, and the protagonist spots his friend sprinting through the chaotic crowd. They stumble into a massive, illegal underground fight club, hidden deep beneath the city's concrete streets. Gamblers bet their fortunes on blood and steel in this forbidden arena where the law simply doesn't exist. Spectators stay silent, protecting this graveyard, where broken mercenaries and injured heroes come to fight their final battles. This is how you survive. This brutal tradition forces every new recruit to witness the horrors of this place. It's a grim lesson. No matter your strength, a tragic end awaits. Meanwhile, the search for the bearded man continues. He's nowhere to be found. Suddenly the drums roar as a mysterious rookie is announced for the next arena match. The girl gasps in shock. Looking at the fighter entering the pit, she recognizes a very familiar face. It's her brother hidden behind a mask. But why? Across the casino, the atmosphere is much more chaotic. Our bald friend managed to blow his entire fortune in just 5 minutes. His buddy jokes that gambling requires brains. Luck won't save you here. Suddenly, a shady shark slides in, telling Fran that losing is just part of the game. Winning and losing are two sides of the same coin. With a serpent's smile, he offers a friendly loan. Back in the arena, the announcer's voice booms. The rookie challenger will fight under the alias Earth Topper. Behind the scenes, the loan shark is fuming. His warrior better start swinging, or those massive debts will never clear. Win big or serve forever. As the rookie steps onto the sands, his monstrous opponent sends shivers down his spine. This is a lawless bloodbath. The only escape, scream surrender before your spirit or your bones are shattered. The bell rings, and the veteran explodes forward, unleashing a whirlwind of violent strikes in the opening seconds. A massive fist crunches into Fran's face, drawing blood. The veteran doesn't slow down, charging in for the finish. Miraculously, the bald brawler blocks just in time, barely dodging a knockout. The veteran's composure begins to crack. Enraged, he launches a thunderous kick, blasting his opponent into the steel bars. The MC watches with gritted teeth. The shark screams for blood from the sidelines. The veteran doesn't care about the drama, he's here to win. Victory is the only option. Re-engaging the fray, he warns his foe to quit before things get truly ugly. Save yourself the pain, he snarls. But Fran suddenly locks in, slipping a strike and countering with a devastating uppercut. The impact leaves the crowd breathless. One perfect punch was all it took to put the veteran down for good. The announcer bellows the verdict as the stadium erupts. Suddenly, the entire crowd is obsessed with Earthtopper. They're cheering for a mystery. Once the mask falls, the truth is revealed. This whole mess started with a debt. 2 gold coins, 20 years of labor. Luckily, our loaded hero has more than enough gold to settle the tab. He'll clear the debt for a favor. Rose beams, touched by such ride-or-die loyalty for her knucklehead brother. Honestly, it's pocket change for him. With a massive treasury in his pocket dimension, this favor is a steal. After the rescue, the warrior drags the culprit away by the ears. It's time for a lecture on stupidity. "You're way too old for this," she yells. But the scolding is just the beginning of his bad day. She beckons the protagonist over, demanding he deliver a physical reminder of why this was a brain-dead decision. The two friends team up for a comedic beatdown. Suddenly, the slick-haired shark reappears, looking absolutely livid. "Hands off my fighter," he snarls. Losing his cool, he orders his veteran enforcers to crush the intruders. He wants his property back. Instead, the bald guy is tossed aside like trash, leaving the shark completely stunned. The warrior's gaze turns icy. She demands the truth. Was this golden-haired snake the one who trapped her brother? That's where we stop today. Smash that like button if you enjoyed. See you in the next one.